Hello, Star Wars fans and collectors, and welcome to another Jedi Master 98 Star Wars live stream right here on the Jedi Master 98 YouTube channel. In today's Star Wars Conversations live stream, we're going to be going over Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and this is the 8th episode of the Star Wars Conversations live stream. And in today's live stream, I've got two great guests on the channel. We've got Alan, also known as the Darth Akoko production.
Hello.
So Alan, he's usually on here. And on the previous stream for Force Awakens, we've got Chris, aka the Collector's Hutt.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
No problem, mate. So, yeah, as the title suggests, we've got Rogue One, a Star Wars story, episode 8. We're going to be going over the strengths and weaknesses of Rogue One. Like with the previous live streams you see me do, we'll go in depth, we'll talk about it, we'll engage with people in the chat, and we'll basically just give our overall opinion on what we think of the film. And before we start, is there anything you guys would like to say about Rogue One before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Mainly just stating the obvious of how much we loved it.
Yeah, I think so far Rogue One is the best, the best executed movie out of the three Disney Star Wars movies that came out so far.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree as well. I mean, the one thing I really liked about Rogue One, going to see it back in December 2016, Gareth Edwards was great and he wasn't afraid to take a risk. Like, even though there are so many risks in movies over the years, this particular film, especially for Star Wars and the franchise and the expectations of fans and collectors and everything about it, Gareth Edwards just went in with an open mind, done what he did, and it ended up such a success. And obviously, so many Star Wars fans, including us two and us three here, love it because it's such a in-depth movie which gives you aspects of what happened and how the Rebel Alliance stole plans from the Death Star. And I thought we covered that really well. So hats off to Gareth Edwards. Well done, mate.
Rogue One from the chat says, hi from Australia.
G'day from Australia.
So yeah, back to Rogue One. I was going to say something. I forgot, but I will remember. Shit.
So we'll come back to you later on.
Oh yeah, come back to me later. Yeah.
So
I just think it's great that they came up with this beautiful story just from that little sentence in the crawl that it was, the plans were stolen by rebel spies or something like that. And this is what we got out of it. It was a story that definitely needed to be told, and it came out so great. And I'm a huge fan of Gareth Edwards. I love how big of a Star Wars fan he is, and at the same time, that could be like really scary to direct a Star Wars movie, because if somebody put that on your shoulders, it's like, do you make the movie that you want to see, or do you make the movie that's going to be right to see? You know what I mean? So it's you need to find that happy balance. So I mean, like you said, I think he did a great job with it.
Yeah, I feel that I remember now that what I wanted to say is Rogue One is the right kind of original that you want to see in the new Star Wars movies, because there's a difference between the originality of Rogue One and the quote unquote originality of The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So yeah. Rogue One is the right kind of original that at least I want to see in future Star Wars movies.
Yeah, just taking aspects from the original and then probably the prequel, just mixing them together, but not too much. But as long as you've got main original where it started, then you're all right with it.
Yeah, I like Rogue One. Obviously everything is inspired out of already existing material, but they took something that's already existed, and they came up with something new, with something that we haven't seen before. So we have rebel spies. That's something that we haven't seen before in Star Wars, and they just integrated it into this universe, and they made it feel like part of the universe, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah,
and we definitely see a different side of the rebellion in this movie, big time.
Oh,
a side that I never thought really existed, you know?
Yeah. We see the darker side, as Cassian and Andor mentioned, the assassins, people who've done stuff in the past they're not proud of. And obviously, when we see in Rogue One, the Battle of Scarif is their time to shine. Like, they're kind of like, I can't remember who done it, but it was like a video after Rogue One came out. I think it was either Star Wars Explained. He mentioned like the forgotten heroes of Rogue One. Like some of them had a lot darker past, and this was their time to shine and basically give light to the rebellion and give hope to the galaxy, which they did. Because as they mentioned, rebellions are built on hope. Everyone comes together for one thing, to try and strike and defeat the Empire as much as they can. And obviously, as you see the original trilogy, that particular battle was like the first key one that they won, and eventually was on the road to victory. Like with anything, like if you go back in history, like wars and everything, there's that one particular battle or one particular moment in time where it's the key to everything, either the destruction or the fall of evil and power, really. So every aspect has a certain part, including movies, history, and real life, if you can see where I'm coming from.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's obviously like the rebellion and the small lot, and then you've got the arch evil empire, and then they just collide, and it just, good and evil, you know what's going to happen. It works perfectly, and like you said, Rogue One delivered. And as you mentioned, Adam and Chris, they got bits from the original that we know and love collided, and it just works perfectly. And I feel that should be our perfect Star Wars movie.
Yeah, the Narav in the chat says, "Hey, welcome to the stream, the Narav."
Hey, and I see behind Chris we have another guest. Another guest.
This is what she does. She cries at the door, and then she sits on my shoulder.
I wish my cats were like this. I have my cats. They mostly like slip on my furniture. Like I have my cat right here, and the other one is probably in the living room, sitting on the couch.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I got her when she was like the size of a cell phone. So now she's like attached to my hip.
Adorable.
So yeah,
speaking of that, they're just totally off subject, but that Solo, that Denny's trailer Solo, whatever that was, there's like a cat guy alien. Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw some like it was like alien from it was like episode 2 in the Clone Wars. His name was Akoko. He's got like the three eyes. It was kind of like an alien like that. That was on the Denny's advert. Like you said, I think you saw, I think if I can remember, I saw you post something on Instagram or Twitter saying it's great to see aliens, but it's even more great to see more made up and created aliens just for this film, because it just fits into the Star Wars universe, and aliens is such a huge thing of everything. Like
absolutely.
You can just sit down and have a drink with him. Like, I'm gonna drink with you, mate. So we've voiced our opinion about Rogue One, and now we're going to get into the nitty gritty and the best parts of the film. So obviously, the first thing you'll notice about Rogue One, it is the first ever solo Star Wars film to be made. Another thing you'll notice, there's no opening crawl. I mean, Alan and Chris, what were your overall opinions on not seeing an opening crawl to a Star Wars film, despite it being a solo film?
I thought when they said that there was going to be no crawl, I'd be like, wow, it's going to feel weird. But right when it was just like Star Wars Rogue One, and then it just went right to the planet, I was like, oh, it works, you know? So I wasn't too like, like depressed or angry that there wasn't a crawl, because I guess in that, in this movie you didn't really need one. Yeah. But then again, I thought they were going to continue that with all these Star Wars stories, but now it's rumored that Solo will have a crawl.
I see.
So I guess I could see that being fitting, just because we don't know.
Nope.
We don't know what we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
A crawl for that movie, but with one, we kind of know, what we're getting into. So, I think it's cool that they cut right to the chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like it's not as big of a deal as people might think it is. You know, it works. It works with a crawl. It works without a crawl. You know?
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, Chris, the planet, dun, you just see the ship come down. It works. Not with anything. So yeah, as Chris mentioned, we see that sound and we see Director Krennic's ship on the planet Lamu. And then we're literally diving into the action already. We see the Urso family are escaping from the Empire. We see Jin, Lyra, and Galen also preparing for what they've... I mean, when first time seeing it, obviously you're like, God, what is happening? Like, what is happening to this family? But watching it again and again, you can see, like, with anything, they've practiced. They've waited for this time and time again. Like, I think Galen Urso knows that he could be recalled again back to the Empire, so they've rehearsed it time and time again, and obviously that moment has come where they want to be taken by the Empire. So because, you know what I mean, like, you practice something time and time again, but obviously for that moment and how powerful the Empire was back in the day, like, they just prepared so much, and obviously they were least expected to be captured that quickly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of Easter eggs in there. We saw the blue milk that Luke Skywalker's aunt and uncle had in A New Hope, so I just thought I'd add that in. Also, we see on the Tannoy, we see the first appearance of Saw Gerrera. I'm looking forward to seeing your two opinions on it. What do you think of Saw Gerrera, the first main rebellion?
So first of all, before heading to Saw Gerrera, Legend of Lewis is in the chat.
Ah, Legend of Lois. How you doing, mate?
And, you know, he's asking, where's his invite?
Where's... Oh, shh.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. Shit. Ah, how embarrassing, live on air. Shit, I forgot. I mean, Lewis is more than welcome to join. You're more than welcome to join. I can do that.
Right.
Shit,
but yeah,
I forgot about that. I'll do that in a minute.
I guess Saw Gerrera, I was indifferent about Saw Gerrera in the Clone Wars. I mean, he wasn't. I don't know why I didn't feel anything for Saw Gerrera in the Clone Wars, and no, I thought it was cool that he is being introduced now in the movie universe, kind of, you know, like not that he's now gonna be part of this movie, but like, again, it's great, but it's. I don't feel anything for that character, so.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? What do you think, Saw Gerrera?
I was beyond shocked when I heard that Saw Gerrera was going to be in this movie, just to you know, revisit a character from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes so much sense just because of so much he went through in the short time that we saw him in the Clone Wars, what happened to his sister and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it would only make sense, I guess, if I put myself in his position, I probably would go the path that he did. You know, he's a rebellion, but a different sort of rebellion. And he will do anything, whether it's right or wrong, to complete what he's trying to accomplish, you know? So it's, I like Saw, and I like his band of just fanatics. Crazy people.
Yeah, that he has with him. Because the little guy and everything.
Dude, it's like a crazy motley crew of people that are just like, you know something? Yeah, we're crazy enough to follow you and do all these crazy things. What needs to happen? And what's really interesting is like his getup. You know, like I want to know. Like I want to know like why he has robotic feet and he needs that suit to live. Or I'm assuming, you know, like what happened to this dude? You know. But it was really cool, and plus, Forrest Whitaker, great actor. So they got a great guy to play him.
Yeah, it's actually the first movie where I've seen. It's the first movie that I've seen Forrest Whitaker play in. So I don't have my Forrest Whitaker enthusiasm as much as you probably do. But I guess for. Yeah, again, it's different from what I saw in the Clone Wars when they first introduced that character, but it still works. And you're totally right. I would have liked to see what the fuck happened to his legs. But yeah.
Brilliant. But yeah, I totally agree. You two, like,
whoa, what did I miss?
what did I miss? What happened, Star? And so yeah, I think going back to one of the Star Wars shows after Rogue One was released, I can remember Dave Filoni mentioning something like he's one of the original rebels who got it started. Like you've got the original rebels who started like Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, Saw Gerrera. So they're like the original lot. It's like the original trilogy. It's the original three. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. It's like they're like the original lot that started it for us, and they've been so blessed and everything. But going back to your point that you mentioned, Daniel and Chris, it was good to see him in Rogue One, but we knew the backstory of him. Like season 5 of Clone Wars, we saw Alderaan get invaded by the Separatists. We saw his sister get killed. So he has been through the wars. And another thing that Dave Filoni done great was bringing him into Rebels, where we see him on Geonosis get that gas problem, the breathing problem. Season 4 of Rebels, we see it link into the hyper crystals. And obviously we saw his mate Edwin Two Tubes, which was very good.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got the Jedi Revolt 4-pack that was released, so them figures are great. So literally we've been blessed and grateful for what we've been given. And but going back to your point, like his fanatics and rebels, they, like you said, mentioned at the start, Rogue One, we've got the darker side of the rebellion. Like we're all here in our rebellions for hope and everything, but the rebellion, just like the Empire, they have a darker side, and they've done a lot of terrible things. And obviously, Saw is an influence for one of them because obviously stealing cargo crystals. Obviously, season 3 of Rebels, he wanted to obviously wipe out Click Clack, the last remaining Geonosis, to see what happens on Geonosis. Because obviously, the Empire was storing gas and everything, and that's what wipes out most of the generation. So you can see the hatred he has for the Empire, but similar in aspects to the Republic from Clone Wars. Like he's always got that hatred in him. Like it's like with anything, if something happens to you or something happens to your family member, you're not the same. And I feel with him losing his sister, it changed him dramatically and obviously led him down to the wrong path. And you can see the extremist side in him in Rogue One, such as in talking, torturing Bodhi Rook, his influence with Jin and Galen and the rest of the Rogue One gang. So you can see what influence he's had on the Rebel Alliance, and you can see why the Rebel Alliance doesn't want to go down the path he leads. Fair enough, he can come back and do what he's like, but they're not going to tolerate the dark side of the rebellion. But you can see where I'm coming from, like I was saying. They do stuff in the book. They want to do stuff by the book, play it on there, and just do it the best way possible for peace and justice in the galaxy.
Yeah, Rogue One definitely changed our image that we had of the rebellion. Like we have new aspects of the rebellion now. We know that it's not as black and white as it looks. You know, it has some dark side to it. You know, need choices that need to be made for their version of the greater good. And there's also rebels that rebel against they rebel the rebellion.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Rebels that don't work with the rebellion.
Yeah. Basically, they are just extremists. They want to do stuff that is meant to be right for themselves, but it's not the greatest aspect for peace and justice for the galaxy. Yeah. But you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, so now I guess we have more than one vision for a rebellion against the Empire.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. My computer just froze.
Oh, that's all right, mate. Launch it back. That's thing.
No worries. Right. But yeah, there's one side of the rebellion that's like, we need to do things right to show the Empire that we do not like them, and that we actually inspire hope.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other side that shows this is a war, and we need to do whatever it takes to win it, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like if we blow up a building, if blowing up a building is going to get us one step closer to winning against the Empire, then we have to blow that building.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As Chris mentioned earlier on in the stream, we get to see the dark side of Rebellion, and it did show in Rogue One.
I'm sorry, guys. Where did you leave off?
We were just discussing about Saw Gerrera's tactics, like the extremists, the dark side and the light side of the Rebellion.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss like a huge chunk.
That's all right. I was just finishing off the point about Saw Gerrera and everything, about what an extremist he is and what he's done.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so I was saying how we now have a different image of the rebellion that we used to have back with the original trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I thought was so interesting about Rogue One, with Saw's group. Even at the very beginning with Cassian, it's kind of like switching your whole view on how the rebellion works. But then at the same time, like, you understand, because if you don't take those measures, something terrible can happen from that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you put in the, Cassian, he was put in that fight since he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So like that's all that guy knows.
Yeah. Same with Poe Dameron. If you read his backstory, his family were brought up in Rebellion, so he's been through the tough times and the good times, so he knows what's happened.
Dude, there's so much backstory on him and his family that I hope we get.
The Saw Gerrera movie.
Yeah.
Oh, a Saw Gerrera. Cameron, did you say Poe?
I said a Saw Gerrera movie.
Oh, that would be sick. Yeah, or at least like we didn't get a novel or anything, right?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think.
Which I'm really surprised, because they're pumping out books left and right. Like there should be enough backstory on Saw Gerrera. So
yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe we missed the window. Maybe too much time has passed, and plus we're living in the fast track now. So every year is a Star Wars movie. So
yeah,
who knows?
Stuff coming out.
Yeah, but I feel like. Nah, I guess if they made like a couple of comic books about Baze and Chirrut, I mean they don't have any excuse not to make like a novel or a comic book on Saw Gerrera. So because I was thinking maybe he's not enough popular of a character to make a story. And that's not it, because I mean they obviously made. They obviously made novels and comic books on less popular characters like Chirrut and Baze, Phasma,
Yeah.
Well, they even made a short, like a couple of shorts on like a few of the characters from The Force Awakens. Like I read the Crimson Corsair, and I mean those guys had like a very small role and they still got something out of it, which they were very interesting characters, Yeah, it's really, you can really go anywhere with a couple of pirates. But the I was a big fan of how they just did like the Son of Dathomir, how they just did 4 comic book releases and that was it. And it was basically, that was an episode of the Clone Wars. You know? So if they just do like 4, I mean, they don't have to go crazy. And plus, I would rather a comic book because I like seeing it. I mean, you could imagine anything you want when you read a book, but it's pretty cool when you see it too. So either way.
Yeah, that's kind of like the aspect they've done with the Darth Vader comic, to see I mean, we've known for years that Darth Vader is violent, but in the comics, he's much more violent. Like, he took on 8 Jedi and managed to kill about half of them. He's wiped out most of Geonosian's population, and we all know he doesn't like sand, so he got off that planet quickly. But yeah, like I said, we can see the darker side with comics and TV shows and films and everything. So it just works together. And to go back to your point, comics can tell a good backstory and get us to the visual effects. And I say, right, we've got the comic. I'm going to visualize and think like this character's this, he does this, or he does that, and as you mentioned,
but at the same time, you have to make sure that your comic is not, that your movie is still good, and it doesn't depend on your comic that you write based on the movie that you made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like for example, for The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, if you need a visual dictionary or a novel to understand the movie, then it's not a good movie.
Mm. But we have all this information delivered to us, such as figures, backstory, and everything. So we've got a good point in our head that we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just buy the visual dictionary just to have a look at the characters in more depth, to discover their backstory, which is fine.
Yeah, those visual dictionaries are that I'm not.
You're kind of breaking up there. Like, you're kind of lagging, Chris.
No, she'll be back in a minute. We're just having a bit of technical difficulties. We'll be back. We'll just wait and see if that's all right. Right, it's still with us. It's probably happening again. It'll be all right. We'll just figure it out.
In the meantime, if I may read the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Dunroff says, lately I've been sorting my Lego collection, so I think I'm gonna watch this while sorting. That's great. That's a
good one.
Dunroff also says, why do you hide the likes and dislikes?
Why do I hide the likes and dislikes?
I don't know. Rogue Kwan is still watching, and Mike Poirier. I don't know how to pronounce that. Morning from Canada. May the force be with you always, Master Jack and friends. Thank you. May the force be with you too.
May the force be with you too. So we've got friends here. Chris will be with us shortly. He's just obviously, I think he's having technical difficulties, but he will be with us shortly. Just check.
Chris, are you there, my friend?
I think he is there, but he should be joining us shortly. I don't know if his computer's froze or something's happened.
Eldor Bashkin just joined this chat. The chat says hi. Hello, Eldor. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
By the way, maybe you can, take this time and invite Lewis.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's totally up to you.
Yeah. To be honest, I completely forgot. I don't think I have his email, so I'll just quickly check if it's here somewhere. There we go.
Okay, he just quit, and he's probably gonna rejoin in a minute.
Yeah, he rejoined. Yeah, Chris is fine with it. He's just obviously having some technical difficulties. It happens to all of us.
I don't think there was many in the Force Awakens stream.
No.
The
Force Awakens stream is fine. It's probably a cable or something near his end. I don't think it'll be the computer because
maybe it's because there's one more person in the stream. Like maybe I'm the one interrupting the connection.
No, I don't think it is because we've had a couple of people on my. We've had a couple on here before. Like me, we had me, you, and Lewis on here, and it works fine. So it's probably just a technical difficulty on his end. That's just
Eldor Bashkin says, hi, Jedi Master. I subbed to you and Darth Akoko. Thank you.
Okay.
Your support means a lot. Yeah, guys, be sure to subscribe to Jedi Master 98 for more Star Wars conversation streams. We're still gonna be talking about Rogue One, but so stay tuned for the we just started covering the story, and you know we're gonna keep them coming. You know,
we're gonna keep them coming. Obviously, Chris is just having some technical difficulties, but we will be running shortly. So
there you go. He's back.
There he is. He's all right.
I am back. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. It happens to all of us, mate.
Man, it's insane. This never, ever happens. I'm like, you know, I was checking all my connections. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah.
My God.
That's the main thing.
I'm back, and it feels good. It feels like it's running perfectly now.
Okay.
But, I'm sorry. So I don't know where you guys left off, but if you want to just move right along.
Yeah, I was actually going to move on anyway. We're going to mention the first appearance of Director Krennic and one of my favourite stormtroopers, the Death Troopers. Guys' opinions, what do you think of the Death Troopers and Krennic?
You want to go first, or?
I guess I'll go first.
Go first, then.
Yeah, Director Krennic, this is the first time we've seen this kind of, you know, this kind of position in the Empire. He's the director of this project of the Death Star, as I understand, and you know, he's still you know, he's still menacing nonetheless. I feel like he brought like I guess, yeah, he also brought another aspect to the Empire, an aspect of, like, competition, I guess.
Yeah, especially between him and Tarkin.
Yeah, there's definitely a tension between him and Tarkin, and that's something that we haven't. Yeah, I don't think we've seen that with other people in the Empire before. Like, I don't think there was any tension between for example, Tarkin and Vader in A New Hope.
No, they had a lot of respect, and
yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tarkin was the only Imperial officer that Vader would really respect and take orders from. Obviously, we know that his master is the Emperor, but Tarkin's the main officer he really had a lot of respect and dignity with. But if you've watched the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker said, we need more men like him. So just slowly going to the dark side. But in the Clone Wars, Stephen Stanton done an excellent performance on him in the Clone Wars. And to have Tarkin, obviously, back in Rogue One, back in Star Wars, especially the CGI they done, it was excellent. And like you said, tension, we haven't really seen it before. But there's always a good connection. But with the Empire, we don't think they're all these powerful figures, they all love each other. But there is tension with anything, with any type of power.
Yeah. And yeah, he definitely shows something that we haven't seen in Star Wars before. Obviously, the Death Star is important to him. You know, it's for him. It's an achievement. It's something that he's dedicated like a long time to, a lot of effort to, and he's gone as far as, you know, chase the one person who can actually help him like make it you know, make the Death Star perfect. Like they can make the Death Star without Galen Erso, but like, is that a risk that you're willing to take?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know what you're doing, so you know, you definitely see this yeah, that he's a man that just, you know, he wants to make sure everything's in order. I guess. What about you, Chris? What do you think about Krennic?
Now, don't get the wrong idea. You know, I'm all for the rebellion, but Director Krennic, his his what can I say here?
Influence.
His determination to get that built is like really impressive. You know, you can only hope that you have someone like that working for you that's so into their work and wants to meet their goal.
Yeah.
You know, and he wanted to be rewarded for it. Though, like you said, that was his project. You know, and you know, Tarkin. It seemed like Tarkin already had that mapped out. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy do all the legwork, and then when we're done with him, you know,
I'll take credit.
Exactly.
It's like when he's like Krennic at the tantrum. This is my project, not yours.
Right. Because I mean, we all worked for people like that. You know, I'm a plumber. I used to plumb in all these new homes, right? So I would be there for 2 weeks plumbing away. I would get the inspection, and then my boss would come in first, you know, the first time on the job, and they're like, he does such great work. And I'm like, what? What do you mean he does such great work? So it's like, it happens everywhere. But the thing, what you're mentioning, I'm so happy that you did, is the relationship between, you know, Anakin and Tarkin goes way back in the Clone Wars. Now, it was something that I always wondered if Tarkin knew Vader is Anakin.
Yeah.
You know, and it seemed like Tarkin, even though we didn't see it, he must have had a good relationship with the Emperor, because look how powerful Tarkin is. It seems like he's almost like running the show to a certain point. But as far as, you know, Director Krennic goes, like I said, I mean, you can appreciate his dedication, but at the same time, the guy was psychotic. You know, like, he got too engulfed with his work, and he's basically a murderer, you know, for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's definitely the ultimate chess player. You know, he knew what he needed to do to get the job done. And you know, I mean, not for nothing too, like, this was played out in A New Hope a lot, and it's like, if you were in the same room as Vader, you don't talk back to Vader. You know, and it seemed like so many of these Imperial officers did. You know, even when Krennic went to visit him, it was like he still was like, I'm still in charge, right? And it's like, dude, like, the thing is, you're alive. You just had a conversation with Vader, and you're alive. Like,
Yes.
You probably didn't need to say, am I still in charge?
Yeah. It's like,
he had the nerve of showing up in his freaking tower.
yeah, he's cred.
Yeah, he went to his home. He was like in the bathtub, you know. So
he's like, my lord, to Krennic's arrived. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that old crusty guy, like, you know, I don't know what his job was, you know, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that part. But I mean, that was a part that I did not think we were going to see in that movie.
Well, when I saw the trailer, I thought, is it somebody? Because you don't expect Imperial Guards to protect somebody like that. You think the Emperor, but certain governors and certain royalty of the Empire are protected in that way. It's like when we saw season 3 finale of Rebels. I didn't expect Death Troopers to protect him Admiral Thrawn. But it's certain aspects with the higher figure and the higher profile that he protects it. It's like, as you mentioned earlier on, which is a great point, it's just to trigger something in the old brain box. Dave Filoni mentioned something again, that when the Empire obviously took over from the Republic and engulfed and destroyed most of the Jedi, they had people like Tarkin, Thrawn, and Admiral Alonn to take over and try and get the ashes of the Empire to rise and take over. So there's, like we mentioned in The Force Awakens, Chris, the stream, Palpatine, an incredible backstory, incredible influence, but he's got it all prepared out in front of him, and it's just delivered for him. He's got rid of the Jedi, and he's got more powerful figures to come in and go, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to lay it out. We are going to rule the galaxy and just rain hell on people's lives. And as you mentioned, it all connected. And like you mentioned, everyone follows a structure. You work hard, and such with Krennic and everything, he's engulfed in his work. But one thing I will say about as a New Hope stream, going back and watching A New Hope, do we get the question and answers where we see the empty seat in the room where Vader obviously was force choking that Imperial officer was getting ripped. Like, is that seat the missing seat where Krennic was meant to be? But my guess would be yes.
I listened to a lot of interviews that he did, and he said it, whether or not it was 100% confirmed. Because I mean, for him, I mean, Ben is a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't know if you guys listened to any of the interviews he was on, but it's super enjoyable.
Yeah, I've seen interviews where he's on, like, is it Jimmy Fallon? And he was saying that he's really hyped for the film that he's in. Like, all of them, like, we're in a Star Wars film. Like,
yeah, and it's always really comforting when an actor is that passionate about a project that they're doing, because it's not just a job. You know, like he in one of the interviews, he went back saying, you know, when he was a kid, how much he loved Star Wars. So, you know, and now that must be like very surreal. Like, imagine us growing up loving Star Wars like we do, right? And then we got casted, and you were the one responsible for building that Death Star. So now that's written in Star Wars history. That dude is responsible for it.
Yeah.
But Ben Mendelsohn was probably the best actor to cast for Krennic, I think.
Yeah. And he's doing other good things as well, which has helped him. But like you said, the Star Wars fans such as Gareth Edwards, JJ, who else, Ryan Johnson, and everything like that, they've all influenced a bit, and it's helped in certain aspects. But as you mentioned, guys, he's just delivered well, and obviously for a Star Wars fan as well, it's delivered. Like, I was watching one interview where he was like literally lost for words when they had the Vader outfit and the Vader costume come on set. Like, he was just so overwhelmed, like, oh my god, there's Darth Vader, like, he's there. Like, fair enough, it's obviously make-believe and everything, but like, Jesus, like we've been doing a stream now, and like Vader just walked in, oh, Vader, right? it's such a great influence to be loved by such an amazing franchise, and then get the opportunity to be in one and responsible for the ultimate weapon, which is the Death Star.
Right. I love that you brought up the empty seat, because it's almost like you could thank the guy not showing up to work on filming day for A New Hope, because you see how it all tied together, because if all those seats were filled, maybe we wouldn't even think about it, but having that empty seat like sparks that question, like, oh, was that supposed to be Krennic, you know? So I don't know why there was an empty seat there, and I don't think we'll ever know the real answer, but I'm really happy that there was one. Yeah,
and as Alan's mentioned in some of the Star Wars conversations, he mentions that George Lucas has to do a lot of explaining. So is that right, Alan?
Yes.
You have some explaining.
Catchphrase right there.
I guarantee
you'll be hearing that a lot.
It would probably be something as simple as somebody screwed up and put an extra chair there.
Yeah.
You know, like. But it worked.
Yeah, it works well. So we've had our opinion on Krennic. What about the Death Troopers? Oh, the Death Troopers are sublime. Guys, please deliver. Adam, you've got a great thing to mention as well. You've got the T-shirt on as well.
Oh yeah, I have my Death Trooper T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, the Death Troopers, they look menacing. There's no way you can understand them unless you have like a earpiece translating their audio from their helmets, because like there's no way you can understand what they're saying. But you know, they definitely look menacing. Just the name that they are labeled to, Death Troopers.
Yeah,
it's supposed to mean something, and you know, they also showed a new aspect of the Empire, that you know, there's more to it than just blank stormtroopers, and you know, I think their aim is better, first of all.
Yeah.
They have new guns that we haven't seen before. They seem taller than the average stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And they look as if they're supposed to be guarding specific people. Like, we've obviously seen them you know, walk around Director Krennic. We've seen them walk around Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels. So like, yeah.
And obviously another thing I like to mention, a couple of them were responsible for guarding the kyber crystals in the season 4 Rebels episodes as well. So they are of high influence, same as like the Imperial Guard, that they're responsible for looking after the Emperor. So everyone has their entitled troops and everything.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Chris, about the Death Troopers?
Oh,
if I remember, you have the helmet, one of the helmets, such as the Scarif Stormtroopers were, if I believe. You've got like a Death Trooper helmet.
Yeah, that was actually the Nissan helmet when the Nissan Rogue car came out. Obviously, I didn't buy one, but you know, I had to have that. The one thing about that helmet is you can't wear it. It's mainly for display purposes.
I see. Okay.
But I'm very happy that I grabbed it. You know, of course, you know, if you want anything, you just have to type it in on eBay, and then it's up to you to make a deal or bite the bullet of how much you want to pay for it. But that was something.
Right now?
What's that?
Going to eBay right now.
Yeah, you know something, the prices are fluctuating between that, so you could actually get it for a very reasonable price, but then there's some sellers out there that like want stupid money for it that they'll never get. So totally don't overpay. If you want one, you'll definitely get one. And you know, Gentle Giant put it out, so you know you're getting quality. So it's a really nice piece. I just really wish I could wear it. You know, like I have a handful of helmets, and being able to wear your collectible is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But as far as the Death Troopers go, I think it's a phenomenal design, and I'm not sure, because the first time I heard them talk, my mind immediately went to maybe they're not human, and I think in the visual dictionary it states that they aren't human. You know, so in that movie, it would have been really cool for like their helmet to get blasted off, and you see this like alien, reptilian, or something. I was kind of hoping the same thing with the Praetorian Guards in the Last Jedi, because I was really looking at the figure, and if you look under the armor, it looks like it's like almost like red, like reptilian skin. But I could have totally been wrong. Another thing that we'll probably never know, but as far as the Death Troopers go, like like you said, they're very important. It's almost like, you know, they have the status of an Imperial Royal Guard, but these are the field troopers. Like, these guys get down and dirty, you know, they get dispatched. So I really like that they're foot soldiers, you know, and like you said, you know, they're with Krennic, they're with Thrawn, they're guarding kyber crystals and, you know, stuff like that. It's pretty interesting that it's almost like Vader didn't want anything to do with them, or maybe because he's such higher up, you know, he gets the Royal Guard.
I feel like there's, you know, the foot, like we call them foot soldiers because, you know, they lack humanity, and I think that's something that we need to see more in Star Wars. You know, we need to see humanity in stormtroopers. I don't know. I feel like we need to see that. Like, you can see the first time there was any humanity introduced to any sort of trooper was obviously with the clone troopers back in the Clone Wars, and later on we have some humanity introduced with Finn in The Force Awakens, which I think is great. It's a great first step. But I feel like, you know, we need to see more of that in the Empire. I know it's a strict system. It's a very strict regime, but I mean, there's still, you know, we still managed to see a bit of that, and I wish it was explored a bit further, because we so far we have seen that with Agent Callus in Rebels. We've seen it with probably with that other freaking Price. That's her name.
Governor Price, yeah.
Governor Price, yeah. And we've seen somewhat of humanity with Krennic, but like just a little bit. And you know, all those, you know, defected people from the Empire. Like we have Sabine, who's defected from the Academy. We have
Wedge.
Wedge.
Wedge. Yeah.
Wedge. We have K2SO reprogrammed. We have
what's his buddy Hobby or something like that? Hobby and Tank. Didn't they like defect with Wedge?
Yeah, I think they did. I think is it AP5 from Rebels?
Yeah, there you go, AP5.
Yeah, as well. Yeah. So there is always human aspects in them, despite them being droids and aliens. Like they want to be good to do the good of mankind. It's like with anything. If we see something wrong, we're not going to do it. So we defect to something else.
I feel it'd be cool to see a movie of like a squad of stormtroopers that they had a mission that went wrong and they're stuck in this one place and they begin questioning their their existence or the reason for which they fight, or they begin to question whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that come to mind. Clone Wars season 2. You remember the Zillo Beast arc? One of the clone troopers said, "Whose bright idea was this problem?" So you can see him questioning the Jedi tactics and everything. Like they got loads of them got killed.
And we've also had that. We've also had that with the Umbara arc in season 4, I believe, of Clone Wars.
The Umbara arc. Yeah. And we also had the comic story where a group of Republic commandos failed to execute all the 66. And eventually Darth Vader and the Fire First went after them and destroyed most of them. So there are certain aspects in the Star Wars universe where we've seen defective stormtroopers, clone troopers, aliens, people who want to do the right thing. So it's definitely there.
Yeah, and you could also see it in one of the deleted scenes in The Last Jedi. When they had the alternate scene for Phasma's demise. For Phasma's defeat, where Finn is like, he's surrounded by stormtroopers and Phasma, and he's like, I have an interesting little story to tell to your fellow stormtroopers. How you, turn down the shields of Circular Base. How would they feel about that?
Well, she killed them and everything, so yeah.
Yeah, so you see that they do have humanity. They just need more exploring of that.
Yeah.
The one thing that always bothered me about the First Order, if you're going to compare to the Empire and the First Order, is how demented the First Order is. Like those stormtroopers, they were stolen as children. The Empire, most of those guys, they signed up. And I think it's really interesting to see those recruiting stations in the Solo trailer, because it's like, oh, sign up. You have all these opportunities. Hey, what do you want to be? I want to be the best pilot in the galaxy. We can offer that. You know what I mean? It's almost like it didn't seem like they were going and being like, hey, join us. You know what I mean? Like people were signing up.
I think that's one of the main reasons why the Empire was more menacing than the First Order, because that's basically why the First Order are basically babies that were stole from birth, brainwashed and whatnot, and the Empire were people that they actually know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they know they understand the cause themselves. They don't need to be brainwashed.
Right.
Okay, all right, so we've mentioned a ton of things there. We're going to get back on track. The next thing I'd like to point out is Krennic wants Galen Erso to come back to the Empire because the work was stalled, and he wants peace and security for the galaxy. So literally we've been involved straight away. We know that Galen Erso is one of the lead scientists for the Empire for getting the Death Star to be operational and work. So I thought that was really good to see an insight on what has happened and how the Empire has developed the Death Star. Anything to add on there, guys, about Galen Erso's involvement?
I think Galen... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go first. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, no, I think Galen is like a stand-up guy. He's a family man. And I think the only reason why he went with Krennic is to, divert the attention so Jyn can get away. Because obviously the guy he just killed his wife. But it's like he's seen what was happening and what they were going to be using this technology for, so he bailed out. But he went to save his daughter's life, and the fact that he put those little like oh, I'm going to leave a small exhaust port open, so there's a little flaw, and he named it Stardust. That's his daughter. So like the guy was thinking ever since he probably walked on that ship, like, how can I foil this plan?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a very brave guy, and it's really unfortunate because if you really think about it, like a good chunk of his life was just like wasted,
Yeah. But later on in the film, we see him die a hero, like he's always been the good guy.
Exactly. Yeah, he tried saving those scientists, and that didn't work. But he tried. He was always trying. He got through to Bodhi, and if he didn't get through to Bodhi, it never would have happened. They probably would have never found the flaw in the Death Star.
Exactly. Anything else, Adam?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said about Galen Ursula. And speaking of Stardust, something that's interesting that just occurred to me today, that when I rewatched the movie, the Death Star is labeled Stardust, and Jin's nickname is Stardust, and now that I see one of the posters of Rogue One, you see on Jin, half of her face is sort of, there's some sort of effect of plans of graphic blueprints, and you see where I'm going with.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I'll have to have another check.
Yeah. So it makes you, it gives this vibe that this is the same, the Death Star and Genosha are one with each other. I don't know. It's crazy. But they have the same name basically. So,
I like what you just did there, because I just looked at it as a really great image for a poster, having the specks on the side of her face.
Yeah.
But because of Galen, they're both twin together, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I didn't really think about that, and that's a really good one.
Yeah, I guess it shows that that Galen, he put he made all this effort into making sure that the Death Star basically fails, and what motivated him to do that is his daughter, and he just had to make sure that she has that she can make a better future, or that she has a better future. And I guess he called that that's why he called the concept for the Death Star Stardust. I mean, that's one of the reasons, I think. And the other reason being, what's left of a star after it's been destroyed by the Death Star is basically dust. But there's some symbolism there. I like that.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I like that too. The thing too is how Galen always kept in touch with Saw Gerrera, and how he sent that message to Saw. But I mean, I know at this point Saw is his mind is kind of scrambled, and he was just basically about guerrilla warfare at that point. But I wonder if Saw had any intentions of trying to find Jin to be listen, your dad sent me a very important message, but it was almost by chance that she was in the right place at the right time and got to, listen to that message before it was destroyed.
Yeah.
But then you see how I don't know, it seemed like all the pieces were put in line perfectly, because it's Bodhi defected, went to see Saw, find Saw, but K2 and Kazian got Jin. Yeah, I don't know. It was just it's a great storytelling how it all kind of fit into place.
Yeah, and how it just linked together.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about being at the right place at the right time, because time definitely wasn't on their side in that in that moment.
Yeah, and obviously that connectors as well, especially on Jeddah between Bays and Shura connected and further on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Moving on, Chris mentioned earlier on that we see Krennic shoot Lyra, gaining Urso's wife, and we see Jen hide from the Death Troopers. We see Saw Gerrera save her, and eventually we see the Rogue One name and the title come up on the screen. So obviously, like was mentioned at the start, opening crawl, that was a different aspect to the film.
Yeah.
Moving on, we see the Ring of Catherine is a trading outpost. We see the first appearance of Captain Cassian Andor. He meets with a fellow rebel spy. Get me words out. News from Jeddah. There is an Imperial pilot who has defected, and they're creating a weapon with the help of hyper crystals, a planet killer. And we see, as we mentioned again, we see a darker side of the rebellion. We actually see Cassian Andor shoot this fellow rebel spy. Now, watching it for the first time, did you expect that, guys?
No, absolutely not. But at the same time, it seemed like if that guy was caught, he was going to just spill the beans on the whole operation. So it was one of those things. It's like, it's not the right thing to do, but he had to do it for the cause.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a tough call, but I guess that's one of those things that's so fast paced, you can't think. Because if you think, then, if that guy, he could have easily just, when the stormtroopers came, he could have been like, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
And it would have been destroyed, Yeah.
It's just in the moment you can't expect. You can either faint and be killed or just do a dramatic action and then get away with it. Like, you don't really know until you're actually in the situation.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess, there's some similarity because you can see that in real life too. Like, sometimes you need to be a little dirty for the greater good,
Right.
Sometimes, like, for example, in an unrelated in Gotham City, there's the police officers. There's some of them that they're in league with the mafia, and they do that to keep the city safe. And so doing dirty for the greater good.
Well, it's like you mentioned in Gotham, Batman.
Yeah.
Jim Gordon's secret and how he rose to become captain. Like, keep that with you. Don't share it. Just keep that burden with you to make the city a better place. It's like with anything.
Exactly.
It's like it's better to tell a small lie than to reveal a horrible, sad truth. Like something like that, really.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on. We see the first appearance of Jedi. The planet. We see a downed Jedi temple statue. We see Saw Gerrera's gang of rebels. Obviously, locate Bodhi with the information. We see Edwin Two Tubes, and obviously, as we mentioned earlier on, we see him and Saw in season 4 of Rebels. So we're seeing Saw Gerrera's band of rebels escalate their violence in a way. Next up, we see the planet Wabani, and if you didn't know this, guys, it's actually an anagram for Obi-Wan. If you go back and watch the film, it's an anagram for Obi-Wan. So I just thought I'll state
that's pretty cool.
There. So that's pretty cool. That. I knew that. I researched it the other day, and I thought, oh, Wabani, it's Obi-Wan, but just if you spelled backwards.
No way. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I noticed it. Yeah. One thing I did like about that particular scene, we saw an appearance of a turbo tank. And if you're familiar with the Star Wars universe, we saw turbo tanks on the Battle of Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith. So it's really nice to see old aspects of the Republic transports coming into play and escorting prisoners to their labour camps. We see Jyn Erso get freed by rebels. We see her fighting rebels, and we see the appearance of a funny and charismatic droid known as K2SO. And opinions, guys, what do we like about K2SO?
Tudyk! Yeah, Alan Tudyk is brilliant.
Yeah, he's awesome. Really good. And if I can remember, Chris, you had the opportunity to meet him at Celebration, didn't you?
I met him twice. I met him at Celebration, and then I met him at Boston Comic Con, and he's actually coming around to Rhode Island Comic Con in November. He is a ball of fun. He's such an easygoing guy, and I loved what he brought to the table. What a great casting job they did with him. I love the idea of the character. I know it's something that we never seen before. Like, what was it, like an enforcer droid? That's
an Imperial program droid. I think that was his title.
I love the long, lanky look to him. His personality was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, every little bit. You know, his relationship with Jin, or even like towards the end of the movie when he was like, you know, I'll come with you, Jin. Cassian said I had to, so it wasn't like he wanted to; he was just told to. But it was, you know, all those little things. I really loved it. I really loved that a lot. And my wife got me the Hot Toys K2SO, and that thing is like phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, nice, mate, nice. Alan, we mentioned K2 before we went on air. Do you have something to show the viewers and everyone about K2?
Yeah, just brilliant. It's you know, we don't see, you wouldn't think a robot can be this, you know, this great of a character. Like you wouldn't think, first of all, you wouldn't think a robot would have any sort of character at all. But you know,
a personality, or
any personality. But you know, they already proved that with R2D2 and C3PO and BB-8. So we're at this point, we're not really surprised. But this K2SO was very different from those other examples, and yeah, just, you know, he's got an interesting background. You know, an Imperial droid that was reprogrammed to work with the Alliance. You know, he makes jokes. Yeah, that's a thing. That's funny. It's, you know, one makes him great, and yeah.
Do you have something to show? Like, you've got your Funko Pops and you've got your
really, K2SO for the win. I have the K2SO Funko Pop right here.
Yeah.
If you want, I can unbox it later when we talk about the merch.
Yeah.
And I have the 3 3/4-inch action figure holding the Lego mini.
It's awesome.
Like Simba. Like Simba and the Lion King.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Lego minifigure right here came with the Lego set for Krennic Shuttle, and you know, the action figure is just the 5 POA action figure. And yeah, just and I bought the action figure. Yeah, I bought the action figure before watching the movie. And you know, that's something that I you won't see me doing these days, but you know, now I'm, you know, it's great that I have this character in my collection, because it's probably one of my favorite aspects of Rogue One now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm glad that I have something K2S. Now I have more than one thing of K2SO in my collection. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really loved how he just made it his own. You know, he was even talking about posture. You know, how K2 doesn't really stand upright. He kind of slouches over.
Yeah.
And like, you can notice that when he walks by the other Enforcer droid, you know. It's really cool. Like, who?
Don't lag again. Oh.
Oh, has that happened? Oh, damn.
Chris, you're lagging.
Just froze up again.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Okay.
it's all right, we're back.
Now you're back though.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about. I was just basically finishing up talking about K2SO, but nothing really important. Just how brilliant the performance was, and how when you have strong feelings for a character that early on in the movie, you know he did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. We're going to move on. We see Saw Gerrera again. He's not impressed with Bodhi Rook. We see the breathing apparatus that we mentioned earlier on from Star Wars Rebels. Yeah. Boogaloo! Lies! Deceptions!
Guys, deceptions.
Bodhi Rook! Cargo pack! He's not happy.
Local boy.
Local boy, huh? Local boy. Like we mentioned earlier on, Forrest Whitaker done an excellent appearance. So like I mentioned, we see that. We see the first appearance of the Empire, and we see the CGI version of Grand Moff Tarkin. And Gareth Wedgwood's hats off to you, mate. I didn't expect it to happen, but to have Grand Moff Tarkin in this film, it really worked. And guys, opinions, what did you think of seeing Tarkin CGI'd into Rogue One?
I think it worked for the most part. Like, you know, it worked better than CGI Leia in the end. But I mean, I don't know why people are, you know, just making this such a that big of a deal. I mean, the probably it would have been probably better to recast, but I like that, you know, they still managed to capture Tarkin's face and Tarkin's attitude and whatnot nonetheless. So, you know, it's great. It's just great. I don't have a problem with Tarkin.
Yeah, because when they done Tarkin, they had an English actor, obviously the appearance and everything, but they had like what Maz Kanata was. They had like special effects, the motion capture. They had like what Andy Serkis had for Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah,
so they done it that way.
So yeah, I guess you can kind of see that it's the CGI, but they did their best, you know, perfecting it that they could really.
Yeah.
And you gotta appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to add, Chris, about Tarkin in Rogue One?
In my opinion, it was the best CGI I've ever seen in my life. I got chills when he turned around because at first you saw the reflection off the mirror, the window, and when he turned around, it's almost like my hairs stand up on my arm because it looked just like Peter Cushing. And Guy Henry, the guy that actually did, you know, his performance, even his voice was perfect. Everything about this was really phenomenal. It because I was like, oh man, I wonder how they're going to do this. I wonder if it's going to be good. And then I thought back to one of the Marvel movies, and they made Robert Downey Jr. look like he was like in his 20s, and I was like, man, they really pulled that off, you know?
Yeah, that was in Civil War of Captain America. They captured that really well.
Yeah, and I was like, how did they do this, you know? And they did the same thing in Guardians of the Galaxy with Kurt Russell. And so I feel like they're really nailing face likenesses. And it really, really showed. Like you mentioned, I don't know why people had issues. Not a lot of people, but you did. There's always somebody out there that isn't happy. And after watching this, I don't know how many times I've seen Rogue One. I watched it like way too many times. And after watching it every single time, I'm trying to focus in on maybe, is it just me being an excited Star Wars fan that I'm bypassing something? But every time I watch it, I look and I'm like, no, it's spot on. Like to the bone structure in his face, like every little thing is there. So I don't know why somebody would have a problem with that. And they did so right by Peter Cushing and Tarkin, it was executed perfectly. I mean, I actually don't know how it could have been better, to be honest with you. So for people, I mean, like I said earlier on, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but that's a tough one because that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, but I like how Tarkin is there to to help develop Krennic's character, and I like that Krennic is not in that we can still. That he's not there to shadow Krennic. Like he's obviously there to show that he's better than Krennic, but we don't he's not forcing himself in front of the camera, trying to make people care more about him than Krennic. No, he's basically a support character for Krennic. To help develop his character, and I like that they used him in the right way as a support character for one of the new characters that they introduced. I like that. It's great. They did a great job doing that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. We see the first appearance of the Death Star, as Chris mentioned earlier on, obviously the reflection of the window. We see a flashback from Jyn Erso of Krennic and Galen Erso and the Erso family on Coruscant. So if you're wondering what the city was behind, that is Coruscant. So it's nice to see a flashback there. We see the Imperial blockade on Jeddah with kyber crystals from the Jedi Temple. Bodhi Rook is tortured by an alien, and we see a pit. And
look at it.
Yeah, okay, we know the truth. And another thing I was really pleased with, we saw an appearance from Dr. Cornelius Avazan and Ponda Baba. And if you're not too sure who they are, they were the two scoundrels in A New Hope. I have the death sentence on 12 systems. You'll be dead. Let me buy you a drink. Guys, what did you think of them two involved for a brief appearance?
Well, for nostalgia, it was amazing. You know, it was really cool to see them talk about unexpected, you know, and they must have been just leaving.
Yeah.
Jeddah. You know what I mean? Like they must have been like on their way to their ship for them to get off of that planet.
Yeah, they had enough time to escape.
Yeah.
They definitely had enough time to escape. I mean, that was they just from the moment Jyn and Cassian just arrived at the city to when they got captured, they had enough time to just take off. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Like we don't know if that was like hours, you know. So like you said, they probably had more than enough time. But if they're like going, if they're going to like to a restaurant and you know how you guys say, okay, I'll stay for one more drink, and that turns into like 2 hours.
Yeah,
we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was really cool seeing, and they did a really good job of making them look the same.
Yeah,
you know, like from the New Hope. I think Ponda, he looked like he was a little bit more like.
Yeah, you look like a bit of a meat on, mate. Like,
yeah, he looked a little shape. Like he looked a little bit you know, like shoulder heavy, you know.
Yeah.
But I was always a fan of that dude. And I always felt like he was hanging around with the wrong friend.
Yeah.
You know, because like we don't know what he was saying in that cantina. It was like, you know, Dr. Ugly Face.
That one skate in Robot Chicken, you know.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I haven't seen. Everyone keeps like telling me to watch it, and I need to watch the Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, same here.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've seen the Family Guy ones, but I haven't seen the Robot Chicken ones.
The Family Guy ones were excellent. I actually bought those on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you have to check out that you know, Robot Chicken Star Wars. It's funny.
Talking about that Family Guy one, it's like, my name's Pig Nose and Scott. Like, it's like, you don't even know me. It's like, my name's Scott. It's like, you watch yourself. He's like, you don't even know me. It's like, oh, how rude am I? This is Pig Nose, I'm Scott. We're bad guys. It's brilliant.
Pig Nose.
Brilliant. And so yeah, really good to see them. Pig Nose. Cassian mentioned that rebellions are built on hope. We see the first appearance of Chirrut, Imwe, and Baze Malbus, guardians of the will, protectors of the temple. We see the Imperial hover tank with troopers, and we see fighting between the rebels and the Empire. And something that is coming into play now that we all love to see is the vintage collection. And we will be seeing, I believe, an Imperial hover tank pilot, vehicle sets, I believe. I could be wrong, Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think, are they out in the States at the minute? Like, is the process?
The hover tank itself isn't out yet. That's going to be coming out soon. It looks phenomenal. You know, I'm not one to buy a lot of vehicles because they take up a lot of space, but that one is very hard to pass on. Yeah. I think the hover tank pilot will be in wave 2 or 3. I'm not really sure how the waves are going. Wave 1 seems to be out now, but I mean, I haven't seen in stores, but they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah, we haven't seen them in the UK yet, but we should be getting them very, very soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
What about you, Anna? What's it like in Switzerland? Are they coming, or we'll wait and see?
What coming?
The vintage collection and new Star Wars stuff.
I haven't seen anything so far, but you know, if I see anything anytime soon, I'll let you know. It's supposed to come, like, you know, this month or what? Sometime this month.
Yeah, I think it'll be this month. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely be sure to check out my local stores and let you guys know next time.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm always interested in when I'm talking to people from around the globe. It seems like Australia gets everything first. It just seems like that, you know. So hats off to you know, all the Australians out there, because if you're a Star Wars collector, it's just everybody that I follow and stuff like that. It's always like 3 weeks before, like, they stop popping up. They got them already. So maybe it's certain things, I don't know, but it seems like they're coming up for the win when it comes to collectibles.
Going back to your point, I think it's certain things, because obviously they're on the other side of the globe. They're like a day ahead in a bit. So they obviously, all the countries there get it. And then I think later on, the people in Europe, such as where me and Alan are in Europe, we get them obviously maybe 2-3 weeks later. So I think it just depends on how it is, really.
Right.
So it's quite fortunate, sir. Plenty more to come. I mentioned about the fighting between Saw Gerreras and Rebels. What do you think of that, guys, on Jeddah, fighting for the Kyber crystals?
I'm sorry. Oh, for the whole the fight in the city with the Kyber crystals?
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like I said, I love his crew, his band of, you know, aliens and other dudes and everything. And then it just seemed like Cassian and Jyn were just thrown into that. You know, the look on Tutube's face, you know, when Cassian shoots that dude and he falls down and it blows up. Like, that whole scene was great. And Warwick Davis's little guy there.
Yeah, Warwick Davis' little guy.
Yeah, and how he's just like chilling behind a wall, and then he comes. It's like everyone's playing such a good part, you know. I thought it was excellent. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing the ATSD off in the distance. Yeah. And you see like Moroff.
Yeah, like, big Moroff is like, I'm out of the way.
Yeah, it's like everything was awesome.
Yeah. Anything to add, Alan?
Yeah, I like there was this one part in the fight where Cassian watches Jyn fight from the side, and he's like, "Oh wait, I got my wait. Oh, okay,
okay, yeah,
you can get it up. Okay, that's noted. Yeah, he has that look, like, you know, he's got like a kid's face, like, in a way, like, you know, he definitely had that face that says that, you know, it looked like he's trying to figure out this new kid that just showed up in class.
Yeah.
Hey, that new kid is actually cool, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, obviously, we see Jyn do that. Another thing I like, we see Jyn shoot the Imperial droid probe. He's like, did you know that wasn't me? And then K2, as you said, Chris, is just slouching, grabs the thermal detonator. There you go, have it back, and Stormtroopers explode. It's brilliant. Really good. Moving on.
for two people just blending in.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to move on. We see Chirrut and Baze Malbus. They know a lot about the Force, but they're not Jedis. Chirrut is a dreamer. And the one thing I like as well is obviously we see K2 slap Cassian. There will be a fresh one if you mouth off again. And he's an Imperial probe droid who's obviously been reprogrammed. So I'm taking the prisoners
The prison.
over prison.
Yeah.
And then we see Chirrut and Baze fight these stormtroopers, which is excellent. A great scene. I love Baze Malbus's gun. It's like a machine gun with a twist with a shotgun. Like, it's so sick. He's really, really cool, Baze. Anything to add, guys, about Baze and Chirrut?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just love Chirrut. I love that. That he's just badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hats off to Donnie Yen and and the other actor. What's his name? It's like Juan something. The name will come to me later on. But I know
I'll find him for you. His name is Yang Wen.
Yang Wen.
Yeah,
that's it. Yang Wen. And that's another good thing I just mentioned about Star Wars. It's bringing certain other cultures to Star Wars. Like we mentioned on the Force Awakens stream, Chris, like for people all around the globe to love Star Wars, but people from a different part of the globe to come together. It's really nice to have that sort of ethnic minority of people from different backgrounds coming together, loving Star Wars for one great passionate thing.
Oh, definitely. Rogue One is a total melting pot for that, and it was done beautifully.
Yeah.
What I love about the Guardians of the Whills is I love their relationship, and it makes you wonder too, like working around Kyber. You know what I mean? Like they're around Kyber for so long. It's almost like even though Chirrut wasn't a Jedi, it's almost like it protected him in a way, and he was connected to it in some sort, because for him just to sense that Jyn had a Kyber necklace, a little piece of Kyber out in a crowd that, people are cooking random stuff or doing random things, like how he could sense that from, 20 feet away was really impressive. So I would like to think by working around, it's almost like radiation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you work around it,
Yeah.
it absorbs into you or something. But maybe that's how Kyber works,
Yeah.
But the relationship is great. I love how it seems like Baze is always like annoyed or like he's crazy or whatever, but he never leaves his side.
Yeah.
Even though they're not guarding anything anymore, it's almost like they're guarding each other.
Yeah, they're kind of like brothers in a way. Like, you almost shot me.
Right.
And he sits down to it. It's like, I protected you, not you. I protected you. Like, it's just...
he's like, oh yeah, like he says something, and then he's like, I have Baze Malbus.
It's like, he's my muscle. Yeah.
But one of the things that were really cool that we never saw before is when Chirrut was fighting the stormtroopers. When he was hitting them in the face of the helmet, you were hearing like shattered glass. Yeah. Like it was like breaking the lenses of the helmet. Yeah. And I thought that was like really cool because it's something that I don't think we saw before.
Yeah. I liked it when he done the stormtrooper's foot. Is your foot all right? And he just hits him again. That's funny. Really funny. Yeah. And one thing I really like to mention is eventually we see Saw Gerrera's band of rebels capture them. And one thing that really made me laugh, but it's taken away. Are you dumb? I'm blind. Like he puts a bag over his head. I'm blind.
Are you kidding me? I am blind.
I am blind. It's funny. Really, really good. So we mentioned about Chirrut being blind. We see the Imperial present leave, and we see the famous catchphrase that Chirrut has mentioned. It says, I'm on with the Force is with me. We see Cassian, Baze, and Chirrut trying to find a way out of Saw Gerrera's prison that they have. We see Saw Gerrera and Jyn meet.
I'd like to mention something.
Go for it.
When we first see Chirrut talking to Jyn in Jeddah City, and he tells her the strongest stars have heart of Kyber.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just occurred to me that moment how many times how many things are named have the word star in their name. Like we have the Star Destroyers, we have the Death Star, Stardust,
Jedi Starfighter,
yeah,
1-7 fighter, all them ones.
yeah. So you have that. I think Stardust, Death Star, Star Destroyer, stars with heart of Kyber. So if there are two words that I think are kind of emphasized in this movie, are star and hope.
Yes.
That's so it just occurred to me when watching the movie today.
Okay.
Find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's fine. We see the message from Gain and Urso. We see, as Chris mentioned earlier on, Alonn, the floor on the Death Star. I've put something in the floor. We eventually know it's to be this trench hole, and he's mentioned that the structural plans are on Scarif. And then eventually we see the Death Star power. We get Krennic and Tarkin saying, "We're not going to destroy the planet, we'll just destroy the Holy City today." We see Saul mention about save the rebellion, save the dream. Like he's so eager to save the rebellion. And then, as we mentioned in the Force Awakens stream, Chris, like certain aspects like Star Wars, and Alan, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's just like Star Wars in general. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like Krennic's just laid back. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that explosion was just beautiful. Really,
the special effects were phenomenal.
Visual
bad.
Yeah.
But to destroy a city,
I would just want that frame. I just want that shot framed on my wall.
You
know, it's that beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So where was I?
And that goes back to how psychotic Krennic is. You know? And plus, like blowing up a holy city like that, it's like you mentioned the Jedi statue, that big statue that was like knocked over or whatever. It looked beautiful, and then you really saw the size of it when you see a little ship. The ship looks this big, flying over it, so you can only imagine. That's like a size of like a skyscraper, how big that statue was.
Yeah.
But it oh no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, to think that Jeddah City, I think it used to be a like a big Jedi temple, right?
Yeah, it's like the last remaining Jedi temples.
Yeah, so
in the Outer Rim.
Started as a Jedi temple, and it became just a city after the big purge, I guess.
Yeah.
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 It's that one scene when Saw was talking to Jin, and this movie makes you think about each of the characters, and I love how, like, even though they don't spend enough time on each characters or whatever, you still get a sense of their personalities and what they're about. And it's just like when Saw's talking about how, Imperial flags reign across the galaxy, and she's like, "Oh, it's not a problem if you don't look up,"
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like when you think about that, you're like, in real life, there are major problems, but if you choose to block them out, I guess you can live your life without, these consequences. You know what I mean? I don't know. But it was just interesting, like the dialogue in this movie. It was great,
Yeah. I mean, the problems are just they are problems if you make them seem like problems,
Right.
So yeah, and it's just it's another great perspective to look at. There's one side, there's the other, and then there's this neutral side.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, perfect example. Like, we don't watch the news because there's so much bad stuff on the news, you know. So I don't know. Am I doing what Jin basically said? I'm not looking up, I guess, right?
So, and certain quotes from certain films have given you aspects of it, like, for instance, in Back to the Future, George McFly said, if you're good at something, you've got to put your mind to it. Like, Doc Brown has mentioned it. And then, I mean, I'm going towards, obviously, the Dark Knight, but what the Joker says, even though he's a psychotic freak, is like, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Like, he's trying to block out all the negative and just go for the purpose of what he wants. But we're not as crazy as the Joker.
Did they send you?
Yeah.
Did you come here to kill me?
Right. No, I come to pick you up. We're going to have a couple of beers and chill on the oven,
There's not much to be left.
There's not much to be left. No shit, man. Let's stay here.
Look at my legs, mate.
Yeah, I've got a prosthetic one and a horrible one with a sandal.
I can barely breathe.
Yeah. But yeah, as you mentioned, guys, just block out all the negatives and then you live for the life, you live for the purpose, and you can get through it. And Rogue One is a fine example of it.
Yeah. Yeah, whether that's good or bad, who knows? Because sometimes when you look away from a problem instead of trying to solve it, yeah, I mean, but in her situation, I mean, who knows? Maybe in her mind, the Empire is so gigantic. It's like, where do we start? So maybe I shouldn't even get involved.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
so
another quote I like to mention. I was recently watching the Avengers, the first ever one. And you see the scene between Loki and Nick Fury. He's like, I'm the boot, you're the ant. Get what I'm coming from? Like, it's something like that, like he's in charge. You see the Empire or certain aspects of the different one. But yeah, boot, ant.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, as you mentioned, guys, perfectly mentioned. We see the Death Star and its ultimate power. We see Saw Gerrera get killed, which was a shame for certain fans, obviously, who are fans of him. But I think he kind of knew it was coming for him in the end, like his days were numbered due to what he'd done for the rebellion and everything, especially the extremist sides. We see the Rogue One gang escape, and we see Krennic and Tarkin not getting on, and we mentioned it. He's like, this is my weapon, mine, yours, not mine. And he's mentioned that he wanted to take control of the weapon previously stated years ago. So as we mentioned earlier, guys, we can see the tension between Krennic and Tarkin, and it works really well.
Stand here amidst my achievement.
Yeah, my achievement, not yours. Like, it's kind of like the kid in the playground with the toy. We see him set course for Edu, and Tarkin mentions that there is a Rebel Alliance spy in their mix. So we just see destruction of the planet of Jeddah, the Holy City. We see Krennic on his way to Edu, and we see it's the Imperial Kyber Crystal Sanctuary, and we see the Rebel Alliance crash land on Edu. We see the Rogue One gang take out the Imperial outpost, and we see scientists and Galen Erso in the dark suit who was spotted. Because obviously previously I forgot to mention, General Draven ordered Captain Cassian Andor to assassinate and execute Galen Erso, but as we see that scene progress, he does want to do it. And as I mentioned, and as we mentioned earlier on, the Rebel Alliance is a dark place with assassins and everything, so maybe that hope for the Rebel Alliance kicked into Cassian, like, I'm not going to take orders, I'm just going to do what is right. Like, you see where I'm coming from? Like, hope has kicked in for certain Rebel soldiers. Where are we? We see Krennic, he mentions about the betrayed of the Empire, saying, one of you has betrayed the Empire. And then obviously, Alan mentioned it earlier on, and Chris, Galen Erso confesses to the plot that he's done, and we see the scientists get killed. We see Cassian target Galen, but he doesn't have that. And we see the X-Wings attack the facility with explosions, and the effects are great. Guys, opinions on the attack on Edu? What did you think of the effects and everything?
I thought it looked great. I mean, just seeing X-Wings kind of, swoop into action it always gives me chills. As far as Cassian goes, just the little bit of information that he knows about, you know, Galen and Jin, you know, I could see him being torn. Should he make the call, you know, that he was, you know, given, you know, to, you know, kill Galen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, by killing Galen, if he was the guy that was in charge of, you know, like, you know, the specs, how the Death Star operates, it's already done. It already fired on Jeddah.
Yeah.
You know, so by killing him, I don't know what that would really accomplish. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure, you know, him when he met Jyn Erso, her being very attractive, probably, you know, paid, you know, a little bit of.
Yeah, I mean, we see the scene at the end. I thought they would obviously connect, but you could see.
I thought so too.
Closer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a softie when it comes with like the relationships. I was definitely the guy that was like, kiss her.
Yeah, kiss her. God damn it!
At the very end.
Yeah,
but
I think that he just didn't kill. I think he didn't kill Galen simply because later on he'd have to, you know, he wouldn't be able to look at Jin. That he wouldn't be able to live with it if he is to work with her in the future or have any sort of, you know, relationship with her in the future. So he probably had that in mind. I don't think he was immediately in love with her, but like they've been through some shit earlier. Like they fought together, they were captured together, they escaped death together. So yeah, he definitely had that in mind.
Yeah, and plus it seems like Cassian always followed his orders, you know. I think this is maybe the first time that he was like, no, let me hear this one out, you know. And when he was looking through that, you know, scope, I think he was seeing like the shuffle, you know, and taking into consideration what Jin told about, you know, her own father and stuff like that. It was definitely a tough call, you know, but you know, whether he did it or not, it seemed like the crew still gave him a little bit of shit for almost killing him anyway, you know, because, you know, he was basically going back and forth with Jin, and then he looked at everybody else and he was like, anybody else? Like, anybody else has anything to say? You know, like.
No, we go over. I'm not going to say any word.
Yeah.
But totally agree with both of your points. It would be very awkward and very difficult to explain the actions on what has occurred previously. But
can you imagine too, like, you know, Jin being with the Rebel Alliance at this point, and then that was Alliance bombs that killed her father.
Yeah, she's like, those Alliance bombs killed her father. It's like, you're not the only one who lost everything. I've been in this fight, so he knows from experience what she's going through. Like you're in shock. Like he just states it.
It's just casualties of war. You know,
it's general. You're gonna get casualties, which is insane.
Yeah, so, I feel like there's it took a lot of maturity on Jin's side, you know, to like keep to like wanting to keep working with the rebels till the end, like after what they did, because like they killed her father, and you know, normally a normal person would be like, fuck you, you killed my dad, I'm not working with you.
Yeah, it's kind of like the situation where we mentioned, I think we mentioned this previously online, it's like when we see
do dirty for the greater good.
Yeah, when we see Kylo kill Han.
Yeah.
We mentioned this in the Force Awakens stream, Chris, and we see the Last Jedi that he'd have been even more awful and in even more pain for killing his mother, but obviously he didn't do that in the end. So it's different sides of the stories, but to kill your own father is tragic enough. But eventually to kill his mother, which he didn't do, is even worse. So you can see like a little bit of hope kicked in for Kylo, but eventually we see what escalated later on with Leia and everything. So there is certain different parts of hope within people. Like everyone has a light and dark side, but if dark was to rise, we wouldn't have enough good If you've seen one, there's more good than bad. Like in general, with life and everything, there's more good people than bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dark will never rise, unless it's Star Wars. Yes. Bring it on. We're going to move on. We mentioned about the X-Wings attacking the facility, and we see Chirrut shooting blind, which is very impressive yet again. We see Jin nearly fall off the platform, and we see the final words with daughter and father. Galen Erso dies a hero, and we eventually see the Rebel Alliance escape from Edu, and we see Cassian mentioned that he's been in this fight for 6 years old. Final thoughts on Galen Erso's departure? Like we mentioned earlier on, he died a hero. Like Chris, you mentioned, and Alan, he played the part of a bad guy in a way, but deep down he knew he was good. Like he was forced to do something that he didn't want to do, but all them years of planning eventually paid off for him.
Yeah, I mean, I just like that he got the closure with his daughter. He got to see her one last time because that's, you know, extremely important. You know, in life and between these two characters. You know, like even though it was very brief, at least he got to see his daughter one last time as an adult. So, you know, so I mean, even though he helped build the worst weapon in the galaxy, you know, at least he got, you know, to see his daughter instead of looking up in the sky or seeing, you know, dead bodies near him or whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I like the closure there. That was nice.
Yeah.
But I feel like at this point the rebels already have the news about Jedi and that, you know, the weapon is true and whatnot. I think they should have, you know, at least reconsidered their orders to Cassian, and like they should have at least told him, okay, that's done. There's no point at killing Galen anymore. We could actually use him now. You know, I think it would have been smarter to use him because he definitely has insight to how to defeat the Death Star, and of course they later on they did it without him anyway. But like it would have I think it would have avoided just a bigger mess. I don't know. I think things would have went differently if they didn't kill him.
Yeah, I agree. Because if I was, you know, one of the leaders of the alliance, I would have been like, clearly this guy's a genius, and you know, if we now have his daughter, I feel like maybe he'll want to help us out, and maybe he can build us a weapon to help defend us against them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Build the weapon, you know, just, you know, help them figure out another how to just get access to that weapon to destroy it, because you know the rebellion, they're not about fighting fire with fire. At least the alliance, they're not here to fight fire with fire, like building a Death Star to fight a Death Star.
Yeah.
Another weapon to fight that weapon. They're here to fight it in their own way, really.
Yeah.
Still win. Fight the right way and win.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, because it's if you think about what's going on in the world right now with this bullshit with nuclear stuff, it's like, oh, you have one, we have one. Oh, you have one, we have one. These assholes are gonna blow the world up. We all live here. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So I totally agree with what you're saying, because one Death Star is enough. You know, so
have that second one.
right, yeah.
But not as powerful, which in a good way they can be glad with, but the first one was lethal. So, well done to the Rebel Alliance. Well done, guys. The next part I'm going to be talking about in Rogue One is something that us Star Wars fans have loved for many years. We knew this character would be in the film, but to see him on screen again, and especially on store shelves, the first appearance of Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
So we got the first appearance of Darth Vader. We see the Mustafar castle where he's lived, and if you watch the Star Wars show, like the three of us, you will know that Pablo Hidalgo stated that Vader's home is on Mustafar to, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, to bring back the pain and suffering, what happened to him by the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, he's lived there to try and get all the pain out of him and trying to, I don't know, like, just trying to think what's on my head. Like,
dark side, really.
Yeah, he's just getting towards the dark side even more to say and what happened to him in the hands of Obi-Wan. Like, Obi-Wan.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Yeah, it's just like making you stronger, yeah. So we mentioned the first appearance of Vader, his castle. We see Vader in the BAFTA tank, which is very good. And as Chris and Alonn mentioned earlier on, we see Imperial Guards, which was quite surprising.
Speaking of Darth Vader, apparently there were he was played by two people, and of course he was voiced by James Earl Jones. But his physique was portrayed by a couple of people, so I don't know which was in the bath tank and which was in the suit. But there was one of them is Daniel Naprus, and the other is Spencer Wilding.
Spencer Wilding, if you can remember from Guardians of the Galaxy, he played the one. Do you know the purple alien who stole Star-Lord's headphones? That's the man who played him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard so many mixed things about this. I heard that a lot of Spencer's scenes got removed. You know, they didn't make it. That guy Daniel, he is like a master swordsman. He's been in a lot of Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah.
So all like the action scenes, that beautiful scene with Vader at the end when he's just kicking butt, that's Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, so I heard a lot of different things, and it was unfortunate because Spencer was going to a convention that I was going to. I would say less than a year ago, and I was going to ask him. I was going to be like, "Hey, buddy, I heard some stuff. Can you just let me know what scenes you're in? That's all I want to know." You know what I mean? And then he canceled, so I didn't get a chance to meet him. So I feel like you can read as much as you want, but it's your perfect opportunity when you actually meet these people to be like, "Can you please tell me, like, the truth?" Like, because if you're in one scene, cool, whatever. You got to play Darth Vader. I mean, let's put it this way: if they were like, "Chris, you can play Darth Vader, but this is the scene that you're gonna have. This is it, guys." I would be happy. That's it. They're like, "I need you to just turn your head." I would have been like, "My life's complete. That's it."
Yeah, that's it.
So, but I mean, I just maybe one day we'll find out. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I mentioned, the first appearance of the Dark Lord of Sith, I certainly did have chills down the spine when you see him walk down that little pathway. We see Vader and Krennic chat. He's mentioned obviously about Edu was destroyed in a mining problem. And as we mentioned earlier on, he mentioned, "Am I still in command?" And he turns around and we hear the old choking. He's like, he mentions... Director, brilliant. And that was so beautifully made. Like, you just see him turn around like, "Yeah, here, bitch, you keep mouthing off, you're going to get that." Like, it's brilliant. Really, really great to see Vader on the big screen yet again. And if you like me, guys, Vader fit in really well. Same with Tarkin and Gareth Edwards, hats off again. Vader has fit in really well. And did you guys enjoy it?
Definitely. Just first of all, it's always a pleasure to see Darth Vader in anything. And you know, it's another way of showing what is Krennic's position in the Empire, like where his place is, because you have Tarkin and you have Vader and you have Krennic, and you know you see which is more powerful than which. So I like that, and you know, again, I like that that Darth Vader is okay. Is probably a bit more noticeable and a bit more shining than Krennic, but not in a way that overshadows Krennic, because Krennic is the main bad guy of the story. He's the, like the main antagonist that we want to focus on, and I like the fact that Darth either Darth Vader and or Krennic overshadow him.
Yeah.
It's great. That's how you execute the movie. Yeah.
What I loved about him is the red lenses. Just like A New Hope, I always loved that. That was one of my favorite, visuals. But I really enjoy how, when Krennic was talking about what happened on Jeddah, he basically was covering up, saying it was a mining accident. And he was never a fan of the Death Star to begin with. He said, the power of this battle station is insignificant to the power of the Force.
Yeah.
He never believed in the Death Star. And I love that. I love that about him. It's not about, these big toys that they have. He's just a great character. Now, I understand he is like a terrible person. What he did in the prequels and what he's done as Darth Vader and everything like that. But there is something about him that I love,
Yeah. Well, Luke stated it. There is still good in him.
Yeah.
And he was the return of the Jedi. He was coming back. And he returned to be the Jedi that people came to love.
But I think they did a really good job. They used the references from A New Hope to recreate that suit. And like I said, the red lenses, I liked how, because on Return of the Jedi, he's very shiny, almost like if his armor is like polished and buffed. I liked how it was more of a flat black in A New Hope. I liked them all. Don't get me wrong. I like them all. But it's the first appearance of Darth Vader, and I think they did a really good job of transferring that over to Rogue One.
Yeah. I mean, that was like with anything that you mentioned. They changed the overall blackness and the thick and the layer of the character. They changed, obviously, his voice operator and everything, the belt, the lightsaber. Like certain aspects were changed, but it did help in a way. Fair enough, it is noticeable for us fans, but it works and it sticks really well.
And I don't know if it's just me or Darth Vader seemed a bit shorter in Rogue One. But yeah, it's just a little bit of nitpicking right there. Nothing too major.
That's all right. That's all right.
Just to me, he's like a tiny bit shorter than he usually is.
I don't know how tall Ben Mendelsohn. How do you say his last name?
Ben Mendelsohn. Mendelsohn, yeah.
I don't know how tall he is, but I guess it all depends on the actors too, because like Princess Leia, Mark Hamill, they're like my height. Harrison Ford's a little bit taller, but I feel like everybody was a little bit shorter back in the day.
Yeah,
everybody's like gigantic now for some weird reason.
It's like Peter Mayhew, who's massive. Dave Prowse is huge and everything.
Yeah,
It's just.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, he's one of the tallest characters in Star Wars. He was taller than Obi-Wan, and he was taller than Palpatine, and then anyone else. You see that in every scene that he is in. So,
I've just thought the same. I think he may have been shorter because you have to make sure to ring up Darth Vader's prosthetic limbs guy. Do you know what? In Revenge of the Sith, where he had his prosthetic legs and limbs. So I've got to ring him up saying, "You're rubbish, mate. You need to get the height right and everything."
Yeah.
But I'm just waffling crap anyway. So, but before we move on, hats off to James Earl Jones as well, coming back for the voice. Hearing the voice, brilliant. Hats off to James Earl Jones. Moving on, we mentioned about Vader and everything. Obviously, the rebellion is concerned about the state of the galaxy it's in. They mentioned that the rebellions are built on hope. Admiral Raddus is saying we must fight. Like, Raddus is really on board with Jim's story and everything. Like, you've got rebels where they don't want to fight, and then you've got rebels who want to go out and get their hands dirty, which is great. We see the meeting not go as planned. And over the tannoy, there's another Easter egg. We hear General Sandela's name over the tannoy, if you didn't notice that. So there's an Easter egg there. I mean, did you notice that?
Yeah.
Watching it first time?
Yeah.
General Sandela's name? Yeah.
I noticed the aerial shot from when they're on Yavin. I saw the ghost on the top left.
Yeah.
And Chopper in the background.
Yeah.
Sandula's name. I was like, oh, oh, oh. I was like that guy in the movie there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also Chopper later.
Yeah, we'll get onto that later on as well. And obviously at the back of the Scarif, we see the Ghost crew there as well.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Where are we? So we mentioned about General Sandula over the tannoy. We hear the name. It's Rogue One. I forgot to mention this earlier on, but we did see Mon Mothma and Bail Organa appearance. It was really good to see Jimmy Smits and I can't remember the actress's name who plays Mon Mothma, but the original ones to come back into Rogue One. And another thing I really liked about that, we hear Mon Mothma mention about your friend, the Jedi, and he's mentioned obviously he helped me and served me well during the Clone Wars. So we kind of get in aspects and questions answered. So right, Obi-Wan's going to be eventually coming into play. And we had another thing. He says, we're going to send somebody. He goes, I will trust her with my life. So them little lines in the back of your head are going, right, we know that Leia's going to eventually be coming to town. And we eventually know that Obi-Wan's coming to town. So it's really good to see a little aspect of the Clone Wars talk into Rogue One, which is really, really cool.
Genevieve Aurélie, that's her name on Mothma. That's the actress who plays.
Is that her name? That's her name.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing that drove me mental in the movie theater is when they were having the round table discussion on they're hearing out Jin, and then there was like a few rebel leaders that were like, no, that's too much of a risk. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I literally wanted to jump over that table and like strangle those people, you know, because it's like, you know, rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah.
This is a gigantic lead and a huge opportunity to get the master plans, the blueprints to this space station to destroy it, to save the galaxy.
Yeah.
And those people want to back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's not just based on hope. What she's saying, you know, she just said she heard a message, and there are people who believe her, and you know she has information. So it's not just hope; it's information.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but if my father left a message stating, I worked on this, I helped build it, there's a flaw, the information is on Scarif.
I would go there.
Point blank.
Yeah.
Like point blank. Like, this is it. Like, this is the ultimate cheat sheet. I'm telling you this, you know?
Yeah.
It would have drove me mental.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in that room, I would be screaming. Kind of, that's why I loved Raddus. Like, he's listening. He's like, I'm in. I say we fight. Like, let's go.
Have a ton of... They should have changed the scene into the Tunnel of Admiral Raddus. We shall fight, fight, fight.
Yeah. Like, that dude was in right when she was like, the plans are on Scarif. He was like, let's go. Like, he just didn't even need to hear anything else.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. So we're going to move on. We see the SW-0608 is the Imperial ship that they stole from Edu. We see them eventually land on the planets. They go into hyperspace, and we hear Jin say, may the force be with us. So that's really cool to see. One of the best lines in history of cinema. So we see the ship land on the planet. We see the Citadel Tower with all the Imperial secrets. We see the dish at the top so it can get a signal out. We hear Cassian say that make 10 men feel like 100. So we know there's a limited amount of rebels going to Scarif. So we see that. We see Director Clinic arrive. We see the rebels get into position, and they light the place up. One thing I will say about Scarif is, if I can remember the set of Scarif was filmed in the Bahamas. And I will say one thing: the Empire do choose lovely destinations for their, especially their Imperial Seekers. I thought it was a lovely planet, really nice sunny beaches and sunny skies. So that's really good. Another thing I like to mention is the Scarif base itself, where we see Jyn, Cassian, and K2 walk through. The inside, that was filmed in a London overground station called Canary Wharf Station. That was filmed in the UK, so that's really good to see that.
Yeah, it was also filmed in the Excel London Convention Centre.
I did not know that. I knew that scene, part of it was filmed in a train station in London, but I didn't realise it's filmed at the Excel Centre, so that's very good. And then the main thing that I feel was one of the top parts of the movie was the Battle of Scarif. So we see the place light up. We see obviously Krennic mention about the garrison; they should be deployed, and we obviously see eventually Jyn, K2, and Cassian gain access to the archives. And as we mentioned earlier on, we see Chopper on the base, and we see the Rebel Alliance get into position, and we also see C-3PO and R2-D2 on a Rebel fleet. And overall, guys, back to Scarif. What did you think of that?
I loved every minute of it. I'm a tropical. I love tropical places, and we've never seen palm trees in Star Wars before, and like that aqua blue, beaches and sand, and that's why I was like, man, this is like the perfect atmosphere environment. So, and especially like the shore troopers, those guys were really cool looking.
Beautiful. Really nice.
So, I mean, the whole like aesthetic of all of that was unreal. The crew, Rogue One, the band of rebels.
Oh.
Sorry, I just cut out a little bit.
That's all right.
Yeah, that whole scene was moving. There was a lot of people that heard her out and were like, we're willing to risk our life going by your information. So it was awesome. The design of the U-wing is really cool. I loved how you had two battles going on, just very similar to Return of the Jedi. You had, the attack on the Death Star 2, and you had the battle for Endor.
Yeah.
And I loved how it was going back and forth. I loved how they got old footage.
Oh,
Red Leader and Gold Leader and all these guys.
Useful.
And so that whole scene was amazing. The battle was incredible. Man, I just loved every bit of it. I loved how there were different walkers, the AT, ACT. I loved POW. I loved Biscayne.
You had that scream.
And a lot of the commanders, like Melchi was so cool. And usually when people get shot in Star Wars, they go right down, they're dead. Like Melchi got shot a couple of times to get like the message out. You felt the pain. You felt like the grit in like this battle. Yeah. Like what Bodhi was going through it seemed like on every section of the base, something major was happening. Bodhi was trying to send this message off. Chirrut and like Baze, they were trying to get the signal, that thing turned on.
Yeah.
Jyn, Cassian, K2, they were trying to find, Stardust. There was so much happening, and it was executed so well. It's so enjoyable. I could watch it a million times.
Exactly. Yeah. And the one thing I will say about it is, especially with that battle and the reviews over in the UK, it reminded me of a proper World War II battle. Like they're on the beaches of Scarif, they're pushing forward to their centre. It was kind of like a Saving Private Ryan moment, but not as good. But it was on the edge of your seat. You were engulfed in there. And the one thing I will like about films, characters, and especially Star Wars as well, they're not real humans, but you get so attached with the characters, like you've known them for years. It's like, I mentioned this to Chris in the Force Awakens stream. My mum is a massive fan of Harrison Ford, and obviously when he got killed off, you feel the pain. Like, wow, Han Solo has been killed off. Like, you get so attached with the actors, and I think it's so great as well, where they love the franchise as well, and they give back to the fans, and it's just such a mutual respect. Like, Star Wars is a massive fan base, but for the respect of the fans, and I think the most known one, I mean, they all do it, but the one who really gives love to the fans for the most has got to be Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill loves the franchise, he loves the fans, he loves engulfing, but totally agree with what you say, Chris. It engulfs us, it gets on the edge of your seat, and it's like a proper World War II battle, and it was great, really good.
Yeah, it was really outstanding. You know, every little thing too, like when Baze shoots the rocket and the ACT, like the head moves and shifts, and you're like, oh shit, and then bang, like the X-wings going. You're like I'm not that guy in the movie theater that I'm vocal, but it's like you feel like you're at a Super Bowl or something. Like you're like screaming like on you, like the X-wing shooting. You're like, yeah, and you're like, okay, there's people around me. I'm embarrassing myself.
Yeah,
you know, like, it's kind of like that.
Well, it's kind of like in The Force Awakens, like when you see Poe, it's like, that's one hell of a Poe. Like, whoa! Yeah, come on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Alan, what do you think, mate? We haven't heard from you.
Yeah,
What's your opinion on that?
I agree with everything that was said, and you know, it's the visually stunning sequence. Really, the battle itself. I like that. I like how almost every battle in Star Wars is divided in three sections. There's a space battle, there's a surface battle, and there's the main character's final dual battle thingy. So yeah, I like it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Nothing to
yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on a bit. We mentioned earlier on that you spot the Ghost Crew in the Battle of Scarif. Chris mentioned earlier on we see original filming from A New Hope. We see X-Wing, Y-Wings, U-Wings, TIE Fighters, TIE Silencers, Bombers, Enforcers, and Defenders get involved in this stuff. We see Blue Squadron engage on the Battle of Scarif, as Chris also mentioned in Alan. We see Red, Gold, and Green Squadron. We see Imperial Pilots as well. We see Jin give K2 a blaster and he's happy. Battle on the beach. AT-ATC getting destroyed. We see air support. We see everything. We see Bodhi Rook get the signal out. And we know, and especially now on the channel, Chris, you're a massive fan of Bistan, the little space monkey. See that little fella firing that great gun on the U-Wing. Obviously, he's shooting lots of shit up, but he's happy. We see the pilots and soldiers getting killed. We see the Death Troopers arrive, which was absolutely sublime. We see so much shit happening. And we eventually see K2SO die, which is a real shame because he was a lovable droid, but Alan Tudyk done an excellent role.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, we see Krennic and two Death Troopers arrive, and they fire at Cassian and Jin. We see Chirrut sacrifice himself. We see Cassian get injured. Unfortunately, we see Bodhi Rook get killed, but he managed to get the signal out just in time. We see Baze Malbus shoot the Death Troopers several times and sees his best friend die. And the one thing I will say about Baze Malbus' scene, it was the most... I mean, all the scenes where you see your characters die, but I thought Baze Malbus was the most heartwarming one. Like, he's seen his best friend die in front of him.
Yeah.
See his final words as well. Like, he is shooting shit up and he is going all out attack, and he's done so much for him. And the one thing I will say that was obviously sad in certain aspects is obviously see him shoot the Death Trooper. He falls down with the detonator and just sees his mate and said, "I'll see you soon, mate." I thought that really got us on the edge of our seat, like his best friend was killed. So we see Baze, Chirrut, and Bodhi get killed. Also, which I really liked as well, we see Captain Antilles, and we see the Hammerhead Corvette. And if you're aware of them, we see them in, I believe it's season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, where we see Leia on the foal, and we see Ezra, Kanan, and the rest of the Ghost Crew there.
Yeah.
We see the Hammerhead Corvette causing a lot of damage. And blimey, I didn't realise they were that powerful. What did you think of other aspects of ships that we see in TV shows come into play with Rogue One. But
Great work with continuity, I guess. Yeah, it's great to see that, you know, worlds colliding, bringing things from TV shows to the movies. Yeah, it's great to see that.
Okay, anything to add, Chris?
Oh no, the tie-ins were great because it's one of those things that, you know, when it's like call up the Hammerhead Corvettes and it's like, oh, there they are, you know.
Yeah.
So it's great, and it's just was one hell of an idea on behalf of Radis, you know, like the ion cannons, that's down, get the Hammerhead Corvettes, plow that into that. It was executed like perfectly, you know.
Yeah, brilliant.
What you were saying about like all the characters, how they perished. It's like, I didn't know how this movie was going to play out. And a part of me was like, no, you know, you don't see these characters in anything else, but you would like to think maybe a couple survive and go their own way or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like K2 got killed. And it was just like, that was super sad. And then you're like, when it hit me that they were all going to die is when the Scarif Trooper throws the grenade and blows up Bodhi, because it was like that was their way off.
Yeah, because obviously the shield grenade was shut. There was no possible escape until that Imperial Star Destroyer that was destroyed by the Hammerhead Corvette. So they could have done it then, but obviously they were out of time. Like time, as you mentioned, was limited for the rebellion.
Right, because I would like to think that small air battle that was going on in Scarif, I would like to think a couple of people got off. You know, someone had to get off, you know, or at least get away from that area, just kind of how, you know, when the Death Star hit Jeddah, they were able to get off. So somebody I would like to think got off.
Yeah, but I think it was inevitable.
Yeah. But it was just like how it was the domino effect, like K2, Bodhi, now the ship's gone. And then that's why I'm a firm believer that the Force was definitely with Chirrut, because those were Death Troopers. They definitely could have hit him. Yeah, you know? So like there was like an invisible force field around this dude for him to get that far, because as you can see, you know, it was what's his name, Lieutenant Cephala.
And Bullshit. They were obviously going to go out, but obviously they got shot
instantly. It was like, I'll go dead, you know, like and it's just like he's just saying, I'm one with the Force is with me, and he gets right through. You know, and then it's just like you were just saying, it was just like he dies, and then, you know, Baze is a firm believer in the Force now, and then like, you know, just seeing everything happen and his friend died, like, you know, that huge explosion, they know that that was their ship that they were supposed to get off. I think I would have did the same thing. Let me take as many of these guys with me, because I know this is my last stand, you know? And, but you know what's crazy? At that point, I don't think Cassian and Jyn knows that their crew is gone. Maybe they're just assuming it, you know?
They just know that K2SO is dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of heavy emotion going on.
Yeah. Loads and loads of emotion.
Yeah, and I think Rogue One is the one movie with the most of that. I believe. I mean, there was definitely emotion when Obi-Wan and Anakin fought each other.
Yeah.
That was very emotional. I mean, I know it's only a scene, but my mum's like me in a way. Like, you get attached to these characters, and even though it's fake, it's very upsetting to think they say, "You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you," and everything. Because obviously,
so there was definitely emotion there, and there was definitely emotion when Luke and Vader fought. And in Return of the Jedi, but I feel like, you know, it's nothing like. I mean, it's this time everyone worked together, and they weren't fighting each other. They were working together to fight the enemy. So that's the only thing that's different there in terms of emotional impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was teamwork at its fullest right there.
Yeah.
Because everybody played a very important part. There wasn't just like a guy that was just there. Like everybody played a huge part in that, you know, even just the soldiers, you know, like them, you know, attacking the troopers because you have to go and do something huge. Everybody's life was so important in that movie, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, from the soldiers covering Jin and Cassian on the ground to the rebel fleet, you know, destroying the blockade in space, like the big gates to get to access Scarif, the surface of Scarif, to, you know. They also needed to, you know, get the transmission from the base with the plans. So yeah, everybody had a big role to play, and that's again.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, but it was just great great execution of everybody's role, really.
Yeah, totally agree. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Going to get on to the final part of the film. We see Krennic and Jyn Erso meet. We see Cassian Andor shoot Krennic, and the Imperial Star Destroyer also is destroyed, and the shield protecting Scarif is obviously destroyed as well. We see Jyn is able to transmit the code. The Death Star arrives in Scarif, and eventually they will be destroying it. And the one thing I found funny was Krennic's had this marvellous accomplishment. He's built the Death Star, and you just see Krennic, who's like some poor bastard on his backside, and I think, God, I'm looking up, and I'm going to be killed by the weapon that I've destroyed. Like, you feel for Krennic, like he's getting killed by the weapon that he's destroyed. And I thought it was funny, but thinking, that guy's had it hard. He's been shot a couple of times, and eventually he's going to get killed by the weapon that he's done. And it's just that was funny, but poor Krennic.
Getting a taste of his own medicine,
yeah, getting a taste of his own medicine.
What scene was really funny to me is when they were setting off all the charges, and they're watching it from, like, you know, the balcony of their outpost. And you're just seeing bombs just exploding everywhere, and no one's doing nothing. He's like, "Send out the garrison!
Deploy the garrison!"
Yeah, like if he wasn't there to say that, was all those officers just going to go, "What do we do?"
It's kind of like the droids in the Clone Wars. The captain's there. What should we do? I don't know. They're going to attack. Like, they just don't know.
Right.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. So we see poor Krennic, the poor bastard, eventually get killed. And then we see Krennic get killed. Well, we don't see him get killed, but we know what's going to happen. And eventually we see the final moments between Cassian and Jyn, which is sad, but like we mentioned earlier, it has a knock-on effect. Everyone had their role, the forgotten heroes and everything. And eventually we see Cassian and Jyn get killed. And then eventually we see... obviously, we saw their final moments together, and Cassie mentioned that your father would have been proud. And we see the final moments of the film. We see some of the Rebel Alliance ships try to escape, but we see Darth Vader arrive and he's like, prepare for a boarding party. And I feel, we've mentioned this earlier on, the best part of the film is Vader, and we see Alan with the lightsaber there. we see Vader tearing apart the Rebel Alliance troopers, and I think the music, everything, the actor who played Vader was absolutely sublime. It was perfect. The music, 10 out of 10. It was brilliant. Like, literally, when I went to see it for the first time back in December 2016, it was all with my mates, and literally when you see Vader, it's just like, oh, the lightsaber's erupted. You hear the breathing. He's obviously waving a lightsaber. I'm like, oh shit, he's tearing shit apart. But it's just like he's using the Force, choking, One of them, he used the Force, put him on the scene and just chopped him off. It's beautiful. And guys, what did you think of that scene? The best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Alan, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it was probably the best part of the movie for me. Yeah, I was when I went to see it in the theater, I was like, oh, holy shit!
Yeah, same here. Oh, shit, he's cutting them apart.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, you know, he's the ultimate bad guy and he's killing, you know, the good guys, but yet we're cheering. You know, the scene was everything that I wanted it to be. Just how it's darkness. You just see the red lightsaber, and you're just like, these guys are so screwed. Like, they're so screwed.
Yeah, they are pissed. Yeah.
And it's just like all the motions he was doing, swinging the lightsaber, doing this. Like, one guy was on the ceiling, he sliced his stomach.
And I wish you would have seen that, you know, in the other movies.
Man, dude. Well, it was unreal.
I said to a friend of mine, or friends of mine, when I was at the film, we see Vader bad in the films, but Rogue One, we've got the higher level aspect of Vader. But that Vader you see at the end, that is the Vader we know from the comics, because he's so much more violent in the comics. And we got it on screen briefly in the original trilogy, but the Rogue One scene at the end was Vader at his best, Vader at his darkest, and the Vader we all come to love. He was really, really great.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that scene all day. The music, everything. They were pissed. And he's like, take it, and then
it's also a great tie-in to A New Hope.
And I'm just about to mention that before we...
It's incredible. It's incredible. I wonder if when they were sitting in the storyboard, like, writing this movie, if, like, right when somebody was like, this is how it should go down, this and that, and then we'll have a guy screaming, launch, and that's the Rebel blockade runner with Leia on it, with the Death Star plans. I wonder if people were like, that's it. We did it. Like, perfect.
It's perfect, perfect. So we mentioned the final moments. We see, obviously, the final battle between Vader. He's causing a lot of shit, and obviously the poor Rebel troopers are pissed. And we see Captain Antilles mentioning Your Highness, and we see a CGI version of Leia, which I wasn't expecting, but before Carrie Fisher unfortunately passed away in December of 2016, she actually saw the film and she was absolutely delighted. So a lovely send-off for Carrie Fisher, and as Star Wars fans, we love her. And we see, obviously, Your Highness, he sends the plans over and says, what have they sent us? And it goes, hope. And then the hyperspace goes, and as you mentioned, Chris, it just ends perfectly, and the film ends. And Alan and Chris, before we wrap up and chat about something else, opinions on Leia's CGI and the film overall?
I mean, in my opinion, there's only one princess, and that's Carrie Fisher. You know, for the small scene, you know, that we see her just handing the plans over, her saying hope. I think it was well done. Just being as what it was. If it was anything more than that, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like what I said. Like, Princess Leia is Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Like that's that. You know, and I think for such a small role in that movie, how it's just like you see the backside of her, turns around, the plans, hope, and it's over, and the credits rolled. I was very satisfied. Like, that did it for me, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
As far as, like, the CGI goes, like, I think the CGI looked really good. I think, I don't know what they could have changed, you know?
Yeah, okay.
It was... I feel like Krennic's CGI was not Krennic. Freaking Tarkin's CGI was better than Leia's. I feel like there was definitely a bit of resemblance to Carrie Fisher there, to young Carrie Fisher, but there was still something off. I feel like.
It could have been like lighting, you know, because it seemed like her skin was very light.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if they like, it's not like she was tanned, but I think that was the only thing. If I can really think hard about what could have been slightly tweaked, maybe it was her skin tone was too light. You know,
maybe it was her eyes. Maybe her eyes were too big. I don't know.
Well, going like you mentioned about the CGI thing, I think there was only one flaw with the Yoda CGI in The Last Jedi. Like, there's a shot where it could have been a little bit better, but overall, I thought they delivered Yoda really well in The Last Jedi, and obviously they used it.
Oh, Yoda was puppetry.
Yeah, puppetry, and it was brilliant. Sorry, puppetry. Sorry, not CGI. There's that one scene where the puppet was, but the puppet for Yoda was brilliant, really good. I stand corrected. But yeah, overall thoughts on Rogue One. Favourite Disney film by Star Wars? Story. Hats off to Gareth Edwards for not taking a risk. And Rogue One is a great part of the Star Wars family. And anything to add, guys, about Rogue One before we change to something else?
basically just saying how much I really enjoyed this movie. Everything about it, the characters. It was Gareth Edwards. I hope I get the chance to meet him one day because I really would like to tell him how much I enjoyed it, even though he probably heard it from a million fans. And I'm not expecting my, run-in with him to be any different. But it just, I just want him to know how sincere I am when I tell him how much I love this movie, you know?
Yeah. Anything to add, Adam?
Yeah, I think just the way this movie was executed, the way it was written, everything, just that's the way every other Star Wars movie, all the other Star Wars movies should be. From this point, that's what I would like to see in Episode 9 now. That's what I would like to see. That's what I would have liked to see in Episode 8. But yeah, unfortunately that can't be changed right now. But Gareth Edwards did an amazing job executing this movie, and I think it would be wise to let him direct more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I think this is the best out of the Disney Star Wars movies that we have so far.
I was super excited for him, his small little cameo in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I saw him, yeah.
I was like, Gareth Edwards! Yeah!
Yeah. And it's also a visually stunning movie. Like the camera work. I don't think we've ever seen a Star Wars movie shot with this kind of camera. I don't know what camera was used, but you can tell the difference. You can definitely tell the difference, and I feel like it was more, alive than the other Star Wars movies. I mean, I feel like there was more movement than usual, camera movements than usual. Like when, really anywhere. In every scene, there's less. I feel like there's less tripods and more handheld camera movements. But yeah, I just love it. I love Rogue One. Yeah.
Same here. I really love it. So yeah, that's that part. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Star Wars Conversations live stream. That part has been wrapped up for now. We're going to continue chatting for a little bit more, and then we're going to call it a day. Rogue One collection in general, guys, fine. Are you pleased with the stuff you've collected over the years? Sorry, over the past year when Rogue One was released and everything?
Yeah, I just wish there was more figures. I feel like I don't even know if they will revisit it. Our hope could be the vintage collection. Because it seems like they're grabbing from all across the saga. So if there's any chance of us getting more Rogue One figures, it's probably going to be through the vintage collection line. But and you know, the hover tank, we're going to be getting that, which is it's good that it's not forgotten as far as the collectibles go, just because what we're talking about, how it's so fast paced now. I mean, there was characters from The Force Awakens that I wanted to get made and never got made, you know. But now that we have, you know, this, I'm not saying this to like rub it in your face or anything, but I was the launch of HasLab and the success of the sail barge. I know it's not worldwide, and I'm really sorry that it's not. And hopefully they'll take that into consideration and try to make everybody happy. I honestly think because of the huge success of that, maybe they will look into auctions. And I know that you'll be able to get your hands on it through a third party, but God knows how much money. It really stinks that you know, you guys couldn't get your hands on it. But hopefully in the future, you know, I'm really hoping that they take HasLab to a level of it's something as small as action figures. Like, I love Oppo Rances, and I would love to see a Black Series 6-inch version of our favorite Snake Jedi, you know? And, you know, let's say if they're like, hey, we need 3,000 people to, you know, back Oppo Rances and the figure's $40. Like, I want them to be able to do something as small and inexpensive as action figures and not just do massive vehicles, because I'll tell you this right now, I've loved Jabba my whole life, and I always wanted a sail barge in my collection. I always did. I remember being a kid and having the skiff boat and just pretending my couch was the sail barge, you know, and having the skiff boat over there, you know. And it's just great that that's happening, but it's something that not everybody can afford, including in the future myself. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to keep throwing $500 to $600 on gigantic vehicles. So hopefully they make something as small as figures, because if something's like $50, $60, I bet you that backing number will get met so much faster, you know? But sorry to rant about that. I don't even know what I was getting at.
That's all right.
I just feel really bad that, you know, because I know the UK, there was a huge demand, like a huge demand
massive demand,
And I know that there was a company that was, I guess, based out of the UK called Darkside Toys. But they reached a certain number of pre-orders that they actually shut down. I guess the people that went through them will get it, but they shut down at a certain point. They weren't taking no more pre-orders, so it was extremely hard for you guys to get your hands on one.
Totally agree, mate. Anything to add, about your Rogue One collection? Is that going well? What you've got figures wise and Funko Pops?
So yeah, I have a different variety of merch from Rogue One. So I have my Death Trooper T-shirt right here. I have a Lego set, one of the Lego sets that came in the Rogue One wave of Lego sets. I have Krennic's shuttle right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I really like the design of the ship. It's something very different than we're used to.
How do you display something like that? Do the wings go up?
Yeah, the wings can go up. That's how you display it in its landing form.
Did you glue that, because it seems very durable?
No, I didn't. I didn't glue it. I don't glue with sets. It's just that's how it is. Lego sets these days they make them more durable than they used to be back in the 90s or the 80s. So,
because the way that you're handling it, I can't believe how sturdy it is, you know?
Yeah.
I had me and my wife, we put together a couple of them, and then I completely retired from Legos because you have to have a lot of patience. And so we did Jabba Sail Barge, we did Slave One, and then the last one we did was a Star Destroyer. This thing was massive. We completed it. It looked beautiful, right?
Oh, no.
And this is a true story. I went to pick it up. To put it on the shelf or display. The whole top separated from the bottom.
Oh.
And when I tell you, like, that feeling of, like, there was a lot of emotion of, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm done with Legos. And then somebody was like, oh, you could glue them. And I'm like, well, that would have been great.
Yeah, because you told me.
Yeah, but the downfall of that, you can't glue every piece because a lot of them have swivel joints, so you can open it and so how do you how do you do it?
They have those specific pieces to make everything move, they are articulate and stuff. And I know that feeling that you had with your Star Destroyer. I had my first Lego Star Wars set, I believe, or at least my first or second Star Wars set that I got was the 2008-2009 Darth Vader TIE Fighter High Advance, and I was nearly finished building it, and it began to break down a bit, and I was like, why won't it stay together, and what's happening here? It was just so annoying. So I get where you're coming from. The figures that you get with Krennic's shuttle, though, you get Krennic himself, obviously, and you get a couple of Death Troopers.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I like that it comes with 2.
Yeah, it's great to have 2 of them. And I don't know. I think it should. I don't think I'd have it any other way. They should come with 2. It just looks better when there's 2 of them in the set. But it also comes with a Buddy Rook.
Oh, cool.
And he actually has a double-sided face. This is the secondary expression where he has some sort of smile. And I think it's kind of inaccurate because I don't think we've ever seen him smile in the movie.
Right.
So I just keep him with the goggles because I just think it looks better.
Yeah.
And it adds more detail to the character. And the last character that comes with is Commander Pow here.
Yeah, that came with it?
Yeah, and
hell yeah.
He also has a secondary expression. If you turn his head, he has the face where he screams.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, I just love it. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing. I want to see more POW. Like the figures wise, or like Gentle Giant came out with a Bistan minibus.
Yeah.
And it's so spot on, man. It's like rail hair and everything, and they need to make a POW. They need to. I feel like it's not balanced.
Yeah.
You need the Star Wars aliens in people's lives. You need this stuff,
Absolutely, yeah. And it also came with K2SO. I almost forgot him.
Oh, what, dude! It came with a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I believe it was $120 set, dollar set, $120 or 120 francs in my case, here in Switzerland. So yeah, it came with a lot of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 minifigures. So yeah, I think
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I think it paid off pretty good.
Nice, really nice. Yeah, my collection's all right.
Yeah, in terms of action figures, I only have K2SO for an action figure from Rogue One. And then as I mentioned before, I have the 2 pops, K2SO and Darth Vader.
Nice.
So yeah, and they're bobbleheads, if you were wondering.
Nice. Yeah, going back to my point, my collection's fine. I've said this before. There's a little gap there for the Han Solo Star Wars story figures to come out, so they're being there. But figure-wise, I've got all the figures I've wanted. The last set I managed to pick up was the Bistan and the Shore Trooper Captain from Forbidden Planet, which is a UK store over here, really good for figure-wise. What else? Yeah, collection's fine and everything. Obviously, just had to reorganise stuff and everything. The only sad thing about future collecting now will be obviously because Toys R Us have unfortunately closing their doors, which is a real bummer, because literally when this wonderful hobby or wonderful thing started with collecting, most of the figures in here are from Toys R Us. Like back in the day, birthday presents, birthday day outs, where we're going to go to Toys R Us for the day and get loads of figures. Like, it's just such a great influence, unfortunately, to hear many stores and eventually the collapse of the franchise closing is a really, really shame in certain aspects. But other stores abroad, the UK and wherever you are around the globe, it should get a lot better. But Toys R Us has especially hit us collectors really bad. And apart from that, collecting will go on, but it just won't be the same without Toys R Us. That's the really sad thing about it, really.
It's so true. We had a Toys R Us. Well, we had a couple of Toys R Us, but a huge part of my childhood, there was when you walked in, there was this long hall, and right when you turned the corner, it was like massive toys everywhere. I remember like the Power of the Force line when that came back. Millennium. Sorry, I just cut out. There was a giant Millennium Falcon and figures everywhere, and I remember that feeling. You know what I mean? You want a toy, you go to a toy store. You know, you don't go to Target and Walmart. You know, like we weren't picking out house products and going, oh, let's go to the one toy aisle. We're going to the toy shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm really bummed about is I'm having a son.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, and I think you guys will really enjoy the name when we decide to announce that in a couple of months.
I'm looking forward to that.
And I wanted him to experience a toy store. You know, I wanted to walk in with him, and I wanted to see him freak out. You know, and me basically say the same exact thing like my parents would say, like, you can only get one, and see like the wheels start turning and like, which one is it gonna be? You know?
Yeah.
Which I already told my wife it's gonna be really hard to send both of us into a toy store because I want a lot of stuff too. So I'm gonna try not to spoil him, but I feel like he's gonna end up getting spoiled because if he ends up being a Star Wars fan, which I'm not gonna push it on him, but if he ends up being a Star Wars fan and he's like, can we get 5? I'm gonna be like, dude, let's get 8. Like, let's go, you know. So, But yeah, hopefully another toy store emerges, you know, and you know, I can't picture a world without a toy store.
No. Yeah, I haven't been to my local Toys R Us, is where I am from, but eventually, maybe next week, I might go there for the one last time and capture something on video and just embrace and say, right, the last time walking in, and it's just been an amazing journey. But back in the day, when you walked in there, everything was stocked and things. I mean, toys now, they're fine, but they're not as good as they used to be, like the stock wise and things. But I think we should just be internally grateful for what we've got and what has been delivered to us. And we've had a great experience, but unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. Unfortunately, one of the best moments of our childhood is sadly fading away. So
if I have any regrets about my Rogue One collection here, is that back in the day I couldn't afford to buy the U-wing. I just really like the design of that ship, but I couldn't afford to buy it, and I really wanted Krennic's shuttle. So hopefully in the near future, if I manage to save enough money or get a job that helps me afford more Lego and more toys in general, then hopefully in the future I'll be able to pick it up online.
Okay, mate.
There was we never see any of the clearance stuff, but people post pictures all the time with Walmart, heavy clearance items and stuff like that. And I don't remember seeing the U-wing, but you never know, that might pop up, especially with Toys R Us going out of business. Like, you know, now might be the time just to see if they have like the overstock that they're throwing out, just to see if it's, you know, 40% off or something like that, you know?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go in there one last time and get as many, not as figures I wanted, but if they're at a decent price, maybe a couple more Stormtroopers or whatnot, just to fill the gaps in, really.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that at Walmart, the Black Series are $5. So I went to the 2 Walmarts near me, and I see the peg, and it says $5, but they're picked clean. There's no figures, and I'm like, oh, you know, because even if like with the new Solo line or whatever, like for $5, like, you know, now you can have one in the package and one out of the package. I mean, for $5, like I spend more on lunch, you know. So like,
well, that was like the thing back in the day. Back in the UK, before the normal 3 3/4-inch figures were priced at £10, they used to be like £5, so you could get like one in the packaging and then one outside the packaging. But as years progressed, it went up to 6, then 7, 8, and then eventually it stayed at 10. Whereas you've got Black Series over in the UK, which is, some of them are quite reasonable, but if you go to a specialist shop like Forbidden Planet, like I mentioned earlier on, they charge about 22, whereas you can go to another store and get for about 20. They just charge a bit more, but obviously if they're exclusives, they're going to go up and stuff. So it just depends on where you really are, really. And yeah, let the collecting keep on going. There's just one more thing I'd like to mention, and anything you guys want to mention before we wrap up. Next month is May, so Star Wars Day will be upon us. And the weekend of May 25th to May 27th, Alan is going to London Comic Con. And on Saturday, I will be going to London Comic Con as well. So hopefully we can meet up there and everything. And something that would please you, Chris, we've got a couple of Star Wars guests going there. We've got Taylor Gray coming to do some autographs and take pictures and everything. And we've also got James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and many distinctive Star Wars characters in the Clone Wars. So really looking forward to going to Comic Con. It'll be my first ever convention going. But
you're going to have a blast, man.
I'm going to have a blast. I'm looking forward.
Chris.
What's that?
You could come too.
Oh, I wish, man.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think when, you know, me and my wife, we're like, oh, if Celebration goes back to London, we're going.
Yeah.
And when it did for, you know, Celebration Europe, we were actually in Grenada for our honeymoon. It was that week. And I couldn't, it was funny because at first I was like, hey, we could have a honeymoon in London. And she's like, I know what you're doing. You know, so maybe when he gets a little bit older, it's totally on the list. Like, we're gonna make it over there. And plus, like, I can get there in like, I think the plane ride is between like 5 and 6 hours. So you're just across the pond, man. So
just across the pond. And the good thing about that is we've got a couple of Star Wars YouTubers in the UK. We mentioned it on Force Awakens. Meet up and just have a blast.
Dude, that would be so awesome. I can't tell you how much fun that would be.
Yeah, like all the traditional YouTubers just come together. We're going to enjoy Celebration. But I said to myself, next time it goes to London, because unfortunately last time I couldn't go due to being at sixth form and getting loads of coursework and work done. But when it comes back over to UK, definitely going. Looking forward to
hell yeah. It's like I said, it's totally on our list, and we just can't let another one go by without going.
Yeah. Okay then, yeah. So that's it. That's Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Star Wars Conversations live stream episode 8. Before we sign off, is there anything you guys would like to add? Anything to look forward to in the future of the channels?
Well, I mean, what to look forward to is supposedly today we're getting a Solo trailer, and I haven't checked anything, so there could be a chance that it's already out. But definitely the time's ticking for that. I can't wait for that to drop. So it looks like a really great film, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's mainly you know, the main focus for Star Wars right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really jazzed up about that. And, you know, all the figures look really cool. And, you know, it's just back to the drawing board. Save that money so you can buy some toys, you know?
Yeah, no feeling. No feeling.
Yeah, I just checked. It's not out yet. The trailer's not out yet.
Oh,
Oh. Soon but surely.
I was hoping you were going to be like, dude, it's out. I watched it. It's amazing.
Anything to add, Adam? Future of the channel? Got stuff to look forward to, YouTube and everything?
Just hoping for the best. Hoping to everything gets better than it already is, and yeah,
that's about it. Okay. So yeah, that's been it. That's been the Rogue One Star Wars Conversations live stream. And before we end, where can we find you guys on social media?
Go ahead.
First, Aaron?
Go ahead.
You could just go to thecollectorshutt.com. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I also have a podcast called Brews and Blasters. That's about it. But everything you can find right at thecollectorshut.com.
Nice stuff. Adam, where can we find you, mate?
And as for me, you can find me on YouTube as Darth Akoko Productions. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Akoko 1999. And where can people find you, Jack?
Well, you can find me on YouTube as Jedi Master 98. Subscribe to the channel, be ready, and be sure to stay tuned for many future live streams, videos, trailer reactions, and everything to do with Star Wars, including vlogs. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And yeah, it's been a blast. I would like to thank you very much, people in the chat, for commenting, and especially special thanks to Chris and Alonn for being in the Rogue One, a Star Wars story live stream. And I appreciate
for having us, mate.
And I also
pleasure.
really appreciate the support on the channel. It's growing every day, and thanks for being loyal subscribers. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks so much for having me. These are always such a blast, man. I really enjoy them.
Yeah, no problem, mate. And we've got stuff to look forward to in the future. And be sure to subscribe to the Collector's Hutt and Darth Akoko Production, and including Jedi Master 98 for many more Star Wars content. So that's been about it. I hope you've had a great day. We will see you on the next one. May the Force, get the words out. Don't start now. May the Force be with you, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you.